Good evening, ghouls and ghosts. This is Matt from That Time We Woke Up in a Podcast and Had to Explain Manga, our heated adventures overanalyzing manga we find interesting, otherwise known as the Over Manga Cast. This week, we're going into a classic and reading Monster by Naoki Urasawa, Volumes 1 and 2. Get ready for the show, and happy Halloween.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the Over Manga Cast. My name is Sam. As always, here at the top of the show, we talk about our familiarity with the franchise that we read this week. This isn't one of the other, 5,000 things with Monster in the title, and I hadn't heard of it, so fresh read for me. How about you, Matt?
Oh, yeah. Monster is something that I don't think I've read before, but I definitely watched the anime up until a certain point. I'm not sure when that was because it was a while ago, but I think I vaguely remember the end of our reading, so maybe there. I don't know.
All right. Jay, how about you?
First time take from here.
All right. And Jacob?
Total blind read, which honestly I think is a good thing. This is the kind of series where spoilers can actually have a bit of a negative impact on it.
Where spoilers can actually spoil.
Yeah.
All right. So we open up our reading in Germany, 1986, where a doctor is performing a surgery in order to save the life of a man balanced on the knife edge of life and death. Dr. Kenzo Tenma is a star neurosurgeon at this hospital, and he performs a miraculous work to save the life of his patient.
He'd been working overnight. Unfortunately, he notes a grieving family's not all the surgeries in this hospital are successful. In fact, we'll come to find that the only surgeries that are ever successful at this hospital seemingly are the ones he's involved in.
Yep,
which
it is very interesting that the conclusion to be drawn is that the people you want to live should be given to Dr. Tenma, when really, maybe they should just have other competent surgeons.
But I mean, that's kind of the message that they hit on several times in this reading, is essentially it's just, dare I say, it's politics. It's a boys club mostly, because we don't even focus in on any of the nurses or anything. But it's all about how you're perceived and how you toe the line, pretty much.
You have to kill an acceptable quota of patients that come in, especially if they're poor people.
Yep. Jay, this is 1986. Women hadn't been invented yet.
Okay.
Except for this one grieving widow of that Turkish laborer. We see that the good Dr. Tenma he's really living it up. He's a star surgeon. He's saving lives. He's got a smoking hot fiance who is also the daughter of the director of the hospital.
So no conflict of interest at all.
Absolutely none. In fact, who could ever say there's a conflict of interest? As said director, her father, appears on the afternoon news doing a press conference about how we work so hard to save this famous opera singer from his deadly brain injury. And it's truly a miraculous effort that brought him back. We are so very good. You should give all your money to this hospital.
And I love how
job is to get money for the hospital, though. So
to be fair, a press conference does kind of exist for that purpose, but it's also comedically scummy and shady. As is the fiance. She constantly has the I'm getting away with something face no matter what the scene is.
I ain't saying she's a gold digger. No, wait, yes, I am.
Well, I think she'd tell you to her. She's told everyone to their face that she's a gold digger. This is no surprise.
She is a German woman, but she has the stereotypical kitsune face.
Yeah.
Of I am getting you for all of your money, and then I will turn into chestnuts on the next summer's moon.
I can't say she isn't self-aware.
Well, I mean, it's also the fact that they drive home the fact of the director's plan, because everyone behind the scenes knows exactly what's happening, and they just tell him to suck it up. This is just the way things work. Even the fiance is just I know you did the surgery, but come on. It's just so it's not a hidden secret, which is, what really drives home, I guess, the feeling that he's not being, like, I want to say gaslit.
Truly appreciated.
He's in the phase of, I'm saving people's lives, and that's the important part. Like, he's very starry-eyed. He will be the good boy TM to a point where it becomes comical. That's not a complaint, by the way. I actually really like the scene where this is going to come up, but it is kind of funny the degree to which Dr. Tenma is the good boy TM.
Oh yeah, this is General Hospital levels of melodrama.
I love
and
it.
Frankly, I'm here for it too, yeah.
Yep.
But for all of the plot twists and mystery that we will get later on, this manga does not do subtlety in its messaging.
No, it just says it out loud to your face.
Ava, as she is grinding on him, says, "So what if my father takes credit for your accomplishments and puts his name on your papers? You're still getting paid, aren't you, sweetie? I can't wait to marry you." And then after another successful operation,
we get introduced to Dr. Tenma's friend here at the hospital, his colleague.
I love Dr. Becker because he comes in as a piece of shit, and every single appearance he gets better and better. What?
Yep. This guy, who was my favorite character until we got to my actual favorite character later in the reading.
Yes. But Dr. Becker is a real one. He explains, if it hasn't already been beat into the audience, the game of the thing, and it's basically saying, Tenma, enjoy it while you got it. You know, this is great for you. If anything, I would say he's the closest thing to a real one that Tenma has, being so far away from home.
Like of the people who are like in this environment, because basically he's been like, yeah, no, the medicine is about politics, and I said, keep that noise. I'm just going to do my job and not be bothered by people. Keep rising, buddy. It's a lot of work, but you know, you got the talent for it. Plus, you're banging the director's daughter, so I mean, you got it made. Just don't screw it up.
Yeah, he's very much, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. You have to do the dirty work. I'm going to tell you that it's dirty work. I probably could have done it, but I figured it was too much effort, so I'm just keeping my head down.
Look, I'm just here to make money and bang women who are just impressed by a doctorate.
Yep.
Which he says there are plenty of. So, I mean, really.
I love how his end goal is always just chasing that pussy.
Well, women hadn't been invented yet, so he's really looking forward to that.
Yep. Exactly. He's looking forward to when Steve Jobs comes on the stage. I've invented pussy.
Remember, Greeks invented sex and then Romans ruined it by adding women.
Man, the worst thing is you're going to find out what Steve Wozniak invented, and it really just got ripped off.
Okay, before we get too off the rails, here's an object lesson in what the politics of medicine costs on a human level. Because the wife and child of that Turkish laborer who died at the hands of a less competent surgeon are here in the hospital confronting Dr. Tenma, and she grabs him by the lapels, slams him against a wall, and says, "My husband was here first. Why did you, Mr. Big Shot Doctor, not save him? Give him back."
Like, this is the person who has the most outrageous claim, because she doesn't know the politics of who got assigned to be the surgeon for, like, the different people.
She's flailing in grief. She just happens to be right, as it turns out.
She's literally just saying, though, like, I know this hospital can only save one patient at a time.
I mean,
who signed his death warrant by giving me over to that equally competent surgeon.
I don't know. I feel like it depending on how publicized this hospital was, especially since it was like given high profile with the opera singer. Like, you could easily look up who's like head surgeon, who's head neurosurgeon. Like, that's very common in hospitals like that. And so just deducting from there, it's like, this person is the head of this department, so I know they could have potentially had a role in this.
Do they clarify that he's expressly a neurosurgeon, or does he just do brain surgery?
No, he is head of the neurosurgery department, because he gets demoted from that later.
Yep.
And then I won't spoil it. But
But what I mean is, like, it wouldn't be too far-fetched for her to find out he was, like, a chair or, like, the head of a department and then, like, go after him because this person I knew was a head of a department and would have had some authority.
And I mean, at the end of the day, she's just flailing and grieving, and she just happens to be right about the situation because this manga isn't subtle, so...
Yeah. In fact, we even get a flashback to how unsubtle it is, because Tenma was actually in the process of scrubbing up to save the laborer when another doctor showed up and said, "Hey, Tenma, director's orders, you're to go work on this high-profile opera singer and save his life instead." Oh, I guess I could leave this in the capable hands of my esteemed colleagues, except we're going to put the guy who... We're going to put the guy who plays the politics game but is good at his job otherwise in charge of this, and that man's dead now.
It's really the fact that every other surgeon appears to just have a body count in the dozens that, like...
When you're reading it, like, it fits with the vibe of the story, quite frankly. But, like, when you, like, stop to think about it and or discuss it after the fact, it is kind of...
Well, because
it fits the vibe, but it goes to comical when you point it out. That,
I
like...
think the way it works is that this story is being told from the perspective of Dr. Tenma, and he truly does believe he's the only person who's capable of saving these people. Like, he is very prideful in his abilities.
Yeah, he's got a very masked kind of hubris where he plays up being like the very humble and well-meaning doctor. It's like, oh, I just do the best that I can to save people. But anytime some other doctor screws up, he's like, I could have done that.
And, like, I think that's one of the things I really like about him is he is... I know I hate Tanjiro for this in Demon Slayer, but, like, yeah, how Jacob mentioned earlier, he's like the good boy TM. And, like, I love the fact that he has this kind of, like, complex where he does view himself that way. But, like, there's little bits of his personality that crack through that he is very selfish and very prideful and likes the idea of being a good person, which is why he's allowed to, like, get shaken as much he does by, like, the things that happen in his life.
Mm-hmm. He has this level of vulnerability because he knows that to some degree who he is a mask.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes points where things that go wrong that aren't mistakes have an effect on him, because how much of that was, random chance or something I couldn't have accounted for, and how much of that was the hubris I refuse to acknowledge.
So anyway, he runs into a situation where an almost identical situation to the laborer and the opera singer, where for some reason all, like, medical brain emergencies happen simultaneously in this town. They always come in one right after another, because
seriously,
the next day he's called in from, like, a meeting with his fiance and future father-in-law. They're, like, planning the wedding. Everything is like, they're getting married in, like, 6 months. Like,
yeah. Oh, and this is as the Heinemans, the director and Ava continue to hammer home just how terrible people they are. Because the night before, while they were at dinner, Tenma's still having flashbacks to the wife of the laborer screaming, "Give me my husband back." She's like, "Are you still on about that?" Well, I mean, your father explicitly ordered me basically not to save him, and that's kind of screwed up, isn't it? No, some lives are worth more than others. Wild for a German to say post-World War II, but okay, here we are.
Well,
and then of course, just to drive home the mustache twirling, the next scene after that is the director being like, "Oh yeah, by the way, you're writing my next research paper that I'm going to present as my work."
And cancel your already almost done research project. That would be a humongous breakthrough in terms of stopping chronic diseases, strictly to focus on this. Just nix your entire research project.
Yeah, that's the thing I didn't get, because, like, the research project he has is like, I've been tasked with making a report on, like, communication between hospitals, like a very logistics driven thing. And he's 99% done with like actual surgical research. It's like, it makes no sense to force him to write this, but that's because it's a power play. That's the entire thing, is all of these people are being like beaten down into submission because
it's all general hospital melodrama.
Yeah,
it's great.
The director is doing this to show he is in control.
Yeah, it's like he's being a mustache twirling villain, but it actually, like, it's also true in universe. He's doing it on purpose to establish that he's, you know, he can make you do whatever he wants. You don't get the choice. But yes, of course, we have to have two near simultaneous brain injuries.
Yep, he gets called into the hospital because they need him to the mayor of the town they're in, Dusseldorf, or I can't remember if they moved to a different German town.
They're in Dusseldorf right now.
Is Dusseldorf a real town, or am I thinking of the fake country from Phineas and Ferb?
I feel like Dusseldorf has to be real. I've heard it in different like applications.
We have so many German listeners.
Okay, it is. It is.
Ah, yes, I knew that the entire time.
Yeah,
of course. Who wouldn't know about that?
The capital city of North Rhine-Westphalia, the most populous state of Germany. I apologize.
It's nothing to apologize for. We knew all along. Nobody just Googled that.
As a non-apology, I'll even translate the previous joke we did. You see, it was 1986 when they had not yet invented Fraulines.
Oh my god!
Dr. Tenma is driving frantically to the hospital to go save the life of the mayor who had been brought in, but also simultaneously a child had been shot in the head. Is what he's actually been called in on? A young boy had been needed a bullet removed from his head because the bullet went into his brain but did not exit.
Yes, and he has so far not only been assigned to this patient, he's already mapped out a plan of action. And they've basically come to the, like, wow, this is very innovative. You're the only one who could probably pull this off.
Because he's Doctor Strange without the overt hubris.
Yes.
Meanwhile, the director contacted him and was just like, hey, you can't let that old man die on us. That kid, let someone else take him. He'll kill him on the operating table. Why are you letting people die on the operating table?
Well, we just don't let people die.
And it's
how about we have more than one competent doctor?
That's crazy, Jake. That's crazy.
And the entire time, Tenma is clutching his fiance's handkerchief, vividly replaying over and over in his mind her saying some lives are just worth more than others, and him just violently disagreeing with that, and then like making the conscious choice. I am not going to do what the director said. I am going to save the patient who came in first that I know only I can save. I'm going to hope one of the other doctors can save the mayor because he just had like a heart attack and
coronary artery that was blocked or something.
He had like a stroke or something.
Yeah, like honestly, the mayor didn't seem like a very likely case of saving because he had been shipped in to the city from his vacation home where he suffered a heart attack.
So he was probably almost a lost cause anyway, but throw Miracle Dr. Tenma at it. Meanwhile, Tenma's like, while it is also very unlikely, this kid can probably be saved. This is a child, and it's also important to point out, this kid is important because he is one of a pair of twins, fraternal twins, a boy and a girl, recently came to West Germany as part of the defection of an East German official. And both the mother and father were shot dead. The boy was found with bullet in brain, and the daughter was left standing there shell-shocked.
Mm-hmm. I think
vaguely mumbling kill.
Yeah. Dr. Tenma is not aware of this. The audience is aware of this because we saw that happen. But
all Dr. Tenma knows is that a child is about to die.
Yeah, it's set up that Tenma knows that like defection happened because it was on Plot Convenience News, but he's not aware that this is that child from that family.
Which is hammering home his worldview that all lives are equally important. Mm-hmm. Because the fact that this is like a political refugee kind of muddies the water there a little, but Dr. Tenma is making this decision without that knowledge.
And he very explicitly ignores the director's orders, goes into that operation, and all of the rest of the surgical team are like, holy crap, he actually managed to like pluck this bullet out of the kid's brain when the bullet was resting against an artery so delicate that like a micrometer twitch of the hand would have caused a fatal aneurysm.
He's just that good.
He's just that good.
Like literally the work of a god in terms of surgery. And because no good deed goes unpunished, literally everything in his life goes wrong.
Absolute obliteration.
Starting the second he gets out of that operation. Like, it's insane.
Yeah. He is stripped of everything save his dignity.
But not officially is the weird... he is demoted from chief of surgery, but...
Yeah.
He can still work there, but he's not going to be promoted. He's not going anywhere. If he chooses to go to a different hospital, he will not get a recommendation.
That's really the second worst thing that happens to him is he finds out he was demoted when they call the chief of surgery up to like make a statement on the mayor dying. And he's just like, well, better go explain what happened. And the director's just like, what the hell are you doing? You're not the chief of surgery. What?
And they send up the doctor who presided over that surgery and let the mayor die. I say who failed to save the mayor's life in a precarious situation.
And then the worst thing that happens to him is when he gets out of this press conference, he goes to say hi to his fiance, being like, man, you wouldn't believe the day I've had. And she walks immediately by him to reveal that she is now dating the new chief of surgery.
She pauses just long enough to pull the engagement ring off and throw it at his feet.
Yep.
Like, holy crap.
I cannot comprehend a person who's just like, yes, this is the woman I want to date after witnessing that. Like,
Well, I mean, to be fair, this sort of snaps him out of the stupor about who Eva is, because from this point forward, he has no time for this woman.
She's been pretty blatant about her intentions all this time, and he's, rose-colored glasses squinted past it. But now, in the course of one moral action, he has lost his career, his seniority, and his fiance. So he's like,
well, better just dive blindly into my work and...
But as he is sitting over the bedside of the boy whose life he saved, he is ranting and raving to the heavens about his misfortune and says, God, those bastards, I wish they were dead.
Every single one of them deserves to die.
He probably doesn't mean it. It's a moment of high passion.
Oh, he definitely doesn't mean it. Yeah.
But... yeah, he's being hyperbolic, but he's like, whatever. I saved the kid's life. Hang in there. I'm just going to move on.
It is a thing he genuinely felt in a moment of weakness.
Yeah.
Yep. And then the stinger panel of that chapter is the boy's eyes opening.
Mm-hmm.
That's not ominous at all.
Yep. Anyway, Dr. Tenma has switched his goal to being just a surgeon because he hasn't been fired, but he has been told that the director will not only not give him a recommendation, he will actively discredit him to other hospitals in the area, so he can't even leave to go work in another hospital.
He's essentially trapped here, career-wise, unless he wants to go back to Japan.
Yeah, the doctor is not omniscient. He can't follow him back to Japan, but
Tenma contemplates this. It's like, do I just drop everything here, crawl back home, and try and restart my career in Japan? But despite everything, he is still the most successful surgeon they have, and he's also a friendly, personable fella. So the patients are simultaneously immensely grateful to him and like him. So every patient he speaks to says, Dr. Tenma, I heard a rumor that you were going to leave. Please don't leave. You're the only one we've got.
You're the only competent doctor here.
I love how he gets like a full speech from the bartender who is constantly in this hospital and in need of a brain surgeon. I don't know what's going on with him because it seems like he just keeps falling down and hitting his head. But I think Dr. Tenma does other types of surgeries. It's just, it doesn't come up much.
Yeah.
But the worst thing that happens, aside from the other two things that are arguably worse, is the only thing Dr. Tenma's been like happy about is he sacrificed all of this to save this child's life. And he did. He feels good about that. And like eventually he feels like he'll be healthy enough to like he can reunite the twins, but they don't want to do that yet because Johan, which is the name of the boy he saved, is still kind of like unresponsive. And he doesn't want to like shock him. So,
and also the sister is also like catatonic, basically. So it wouldn't necessarily be good for her either.
Other than when she randomly gets up and starts muttering "kill,"
which it's picture of mental health right there.
Anna is awake insofar as her eyes are open and she can walk, but she isn't. The lights are on, but nobody's home.
So anyway, we cut to the director, who is, now that the mayor is dead, and they are going through a re-election for a new mayor, the hospital needs some good publicity. Ooh, these two children, these poor twins, children of political refugees. Ooh, and we've saved their life. People love alive kids. I bet we could get a good picture of the two siblings together, both alive, and in the free land of West Germany.
Yes, and in fact, this is such a good and dastardly political scheme that I am going to take candy from these children. They're 10 years old. They're not babies.
Because literally, their rooms are full of presents because people have seen their story on the news and sent them into the hospital. Mm-hmm. And the director literally takes a bag of candy from this pile of presents, opens it up, and passes it out to the three of them. And it's just like, delicious candy. That is mine because I saved his life. Yum, yum, yum.
They literally would be like supervillains who would say, it tastes even sweeter taking it from these harmless children.
We're taking it from orphans.
And that basically goes about as well as you would think, because he is essentially, Dr. Tenma does not want them reunited because he's still worried about his patient. But what then happens is the director goes, oh, if the doctor says you can't do that, then this kid's got a new doctor. Let's go get that photo for the press. And Dr. Tenma finds out about this when Anna screams loudly and runs into the hall and
passes out.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Dr. Tenma runs in and yells that they were not ready to be reunited. What are you doing? You're not his doctor anymore. And he's just fighting. And he is then thrown up against the door and is like actively being hurt by this doctor. And he looks over to see Johan watching this with tears in his eyes, conscious for like the first time in months.
Mm-hmm.
Hand outstretched in the direction of Anna.
Mm-hmm.
After all that, Dr. Tenma does the understandable choice of going out and drinking himself silly.
Yep. Good thing he's friends with that bartender.
Yep. Which is a very good alibi when the police show up, knock on the door and say, hey, yeah, all your political enemies, the director, the new chief of neurosurgery, and that one guy who relayed all the director's orders to you, yeah, they're all dead.
They all died of poison.
See, the thing about that, though, they don't reveal the poisoning right away. The thing I kind of liked about this bit is they hold on to that bit of information for a little while. And what Matt mentioned about like this being very strictly from Tenma's perspective, and so like his ego is framed in a very particular way. There is kind of a sense of like, did something supernatural just happen? Did Johan like magically grant the wish or something? And then, you know, there's a bunch of like tumult and paranoia and everybody's running around and, you know, exchanging information and nobody's quite got the right information. In fact, I believe Tenma doesn't even find out about the fact that they were poisoned until after the funeral because Johan and Anna disappear.
Mm-hmm.
And that distracts him long enough that he doesn't even meet with the police as he was supposed to have until after the funeral is just ended.
Yeah, it is easily the most complicated and hectic day of Dr. Tenma's life so far.
Because he gets promoted the next day too.
The not the director of the hospital, but the president of the organization. He comes in and says, "Actually, I'm a staunch believer in meritocracy, and I have recognized your merits and your accomplishments, and I'm going to promote you accordingly in a strictly honor-based system. So now you are the chief of surgery for the entire hospital." I mean, thanks, but you do realize how bad this looks, that all my political enemies died and then I got a position of high status and power, right? No, I don't realize that at all. Go forth and save lives for the next decade in this time skip.
I mean, also, the police essentially go, yeah, the bartender said he'd been out drinking until late into the night, and he has a great alibi. He was in a public place drinking.
Yeah, and this is where we get introduced to another important character. My brain is a computer, man.
Agent Lunge.
Yes, Agent Lunge.
It's probably pronounced differently, but it's spelled Lunge.
And honestly, Lunge fits his character.
Bro got a widow's peak to rival Vegeta.
This guy is Menace the character.
Yes.
And this is the really fun bit, because he's the one who actually points out that they had been poisoned by the candy they'd eaten. And it's here's this guy who is so menacing, and he just peels the veil back of what seems like this divine intervention to reveal that it's mundane. And from this point forward in the story, he's sitting there thinking, they were poisoned. You don't have to be present when you poison somebody. Tenma definitely killed them and set up that alibi on purpose.
I love the way he asked too, because he said they had a large amount of this in their, it was a drug name specifically in their system. And Tenma just immediately goes, "Oh, right, that muscle relaxant. That's not good." He's like, "You knew that very quickly. You know your drugs."
I'm a doctor.
No, yeah, I love this.
That's the dramatic irony, infuriating thing about it, because we see everything from Tenma's perspective. We know his alibi is solid because he legitimately didn't do it. This is all the most painful coincidence anybody's ever seen in their entire life.
But the thing is, from Lunge's perspective, it makes perfect sense. It's the this is Occam's razor. It can't be anything else would be convoluted and insane.
This is very logical too. But I mean, his alibi, I don't know if there's any documentation supplied, but his alibi is essentially, I went out and got drunk that night.
In a bar, and then the bartender confirms he was there. That's the thing. He drank in public, so
he's got an alibi. He's got witnesses to that alibi.
He's got proof that he was not in the state to be doing complex actions. Because he got way too drunk is the other thing. He had to be kicked out of the bar.
So is it more that they believe that he orchestrated it, not him individually?
That's what Lunge. Yeah, no, that's what Lunge is clearly
Lunge
thinking.
Thinks that. And that's because Lunge doesn't like the loose end that they do come up with, which is these kids were political refugees, and the doctor did just steal poison from their pile of gifts. Somebody probably from East Germany probably sent poison to these children.
It's also logical, though. It's just kind of he's very adamant that it's this.
But it is not a solution. Mm-hmm. He wants a solution. And
because he has no cases that are outstanding. This one is going to keep him up at night.
Yeah, I forget where that quote is, but I'll talk about it now because I can't foresee us talking about it then. I love his quote of just I have no unfinished cases. And it's just I mean, yes, if you exclude the ones you are currently working on, then sure, you have none. But you just never give up. That's not
the same thing.
The fun thing about Lunge is that whenever he's talking with somebody, his fingers are twitching. And I really liked this because the onomatopoeia is taka taka. And I'm like, what is he typing on a keyboard or something? And then he says, and whenever I'm talking with somebody, I am typing out on a keyboard, which then downloads it into the floppy disk of my brain. See, I simply need to do the keystrokes that call up the last recorded document, and I can remember exactly what you said to me, Dr. Tenma, even the tone of voice. I am that good at transcribing dialogue in the moment.
Yeah, he has a very good memory.
Bro, you're freaking wild. Have fun with that. I'm gonna...
He very much has, like, what do you call it? If you have a visual memory, he definitely has a system to file this way. He literally refers to it as his floppy disk.
he's got his mind palace, except it's actually a computer.
Yes.
Oh, it's a good thing my mind palace is a computer. I'm terrible with those. Sam can attest.
Yeah. The only other thing that happens in the past before the time skip is the children disappear, and there is the funeral for the director at which Ava's new boyfriend kind of tells her, "Woman, quit your emotional outburst. This is a funeral. This is not a time for sadness.
My father is dead."
Meanwhile, Dr.
To be
Tenma...
fair, she is being a little melodramatic, okay?
100%. But then Dr. Tenma literally just kind of half raises a hand and go like, "Oh, maybe I should comfort her. Never mind." And he literally goes, "That," which is hilarious because after the time skip, Ava literally at one point goes, "Oh, yes, you tried to comfort me at the funeral, right?" And I'm just like, he kind of gave up on doing that.
Immediately.
He contemplated doing it.
I do like the thing in, like, right before the time skip, like the last thing we see before the time skip is Ava trying to, it's like, oh, I want to try again, and Tenma just like gets up and leaves.
Yeah, I did really like this from a character motivation perspective. She seems to genuinely realize her mistake. Oh, I was a gold digging bitch. And you
were the only person in my life who was genuine, and I appreciate that after this tragedy.
However, she has hurt him so bad that reasonably he doesn't want anything to do with her. But because she's such a spoiled brat, she doesn't realize that part. She's still a step away from the actual character growth that would make her accept this.
It's like she's disconnected, apologizing, and actually feeling bad in her brain. And she's just like, "I've apologized. What's the problem? It's been fixed."
And didn't we just do the summer Hikaru died?
Well, one of them is an unfeeling monster, and the other is Hikaru.
Yes. After he leaves her wailing on the street in the night, we time skip forward 9 years to 1995, where
I remember that year.
I don't.
No one remembers 1995.
First year I remember clearly is like 97.
In my day.
Back in my day, the original Digimon came out.
Either way, the point being, Dr. Tenma is still chief of surgery at this hospital, and he is still the only guy who gets anything done right, and he's the coolest guy ever.
He's the chief of surgery who seems to be doing all of the surgeries, and they're like not even life-threatening surgeries. Like he's setting broken legs, it looks like, based on the casts on his patients. He could also just have good bedside manner. Maybe that's what that's supposed to convey, but it kind of implies that he is doing all the surgeries.
It is implied that he's got really good bedside manner because all the patients love him.
Well, yeah, he's definitely got really good bedside manner, and there is a level of the way that he's dealing with his situation, because he's still got some stuff like yet to be unpacked, is he throws himself into his work, you know, to the exclusion of all other like things that he does. And there's a really good line from his buddy. For crying out loud, if I was in his shoes, I'd have 5 mistresses by now.
Dr. Becker is doing his best. Like, I can only imagine for 10 years, he's been constantly setting him up on blind dates.
Yeah.
Yes, he specifically has.
And it's insane, like the quality of women he's able to get for his friend to go on these dates with is literally like,
dude, get you some.
Like literally the daughter of the president, Or
Well, I'm just saying, like, legitimately, you got Tenma, who is young. He is brilliant. He's a doctor. Like, he's
more than a
Japanese.
doctor. He's a chief of surgery.
Yeah, so I don't even think, like, his guy has to really say much. It's just kind of like, well, yeah, he's a huge catch.
Oh, and then he keeps running off to do emergency surgeries.
Yeah.
Kenzo, my friend, boss, get you some. I'm not even trying to butter you up for a promotion. I am out of the goodness of my heart.
I am
as a
your
fellow
friend
man.
trying to help you.
As a fellow man, I'm just trying to get your dick wet, my guy.
Kenzo, my brother, I have been grateful for the sloppy seconds I have been able to grace off the field when you have shot them down. But
at some point,
Kenzo, I know women were only invented 3 years ago.
Oh my god.
Trust me, man, it's worth it.
We have to make up for lost time.
As all of this is happening. Fair. As all this is happening, we have a serial killer on the loose.
Of course.
Where the latest killing has only been found due to the floods that struck Cologne in 95. I really like the policemen paddling around the flooded streets, doing their patrols, trying to find people to help, talking about, man, the wall came down and it's not changed.
Boy, given the point
Guys,
when we recorded this episode, I understand why they have that sentiment, and it's still just as frustrating.
Guys, also, given when we recorded this episode, guys, natural disasters aren't politically motivated.
Tell that to those damn communist hurricanes.
They kill everyone equally.
Why do they appear as red on the weather map, Jacob?
Anyway, the floods washed loose some corpses, so now we know that there's a serial killer on the loose, whose MO appears to be going after childless middle-aged couples.
I love the level of, like, disbelief one of the people has when he's just like, all of those middle-aged couples were childless. Childless middle-aged couples?
Dinks.
My God, women were only invented 2.5 years ago, but we've had children for generations.
Nobody can explain it.
Lunge's investigative skills, as goofy and over the top as a character as he is, they do effectively establish his skills. Like, he's quirky, but, like, he comes off as, like, intelligent and competent as intended. It's kind of what makes it so infuriating that he's so convinced Tenma is responsible for all this, because
it looks really bad for Tenma is really the problem.
Yeah, it's like he's working with the information he has and he's coming to the logical conclusion. We just happen to know he's wrong.
Because that's the other thing, is he was kind of willing to give up he was willing to accept the solution that this was a politically motivated poisoning. He wasn't happy with that solution because there's not actually a solution for him, so the case isn't really closed. It's when he comes back to this murder and he finds out that all of these, like, childless couples were murdered, and he's just like,
And it's and he's thinking, this is a multiple person job. There were a lot of unanswered questions about that previous slaying 9 years ago.
So anyway, they track down one of the suspects, which is the suspicious thing about this is all of these people who died were relatively well off, and they were killed, and things were stolen from the house, but, like, a very small amount was stolen, like, not even really enough to be worth killing 2 people over.
It's like, it would be a semi-decent payday for one person, but given how precisely the job was carried out, there had to be a minimum of 3 people involved. And if you're dividing what was stolen amongst 3 people, it's basically nothing.
And the main weird thing is that none of the houses seem to be broken into, which could only mean a master locksmith, which is where we get someone, which is clearly, if I needed to generate a completely random German name out of nowhere, this is what I would.
His name is Junkers. We're not going to continue that further.
What are you talking about? My boy Adolf's done nothing wrong. Like, seriously, this criminal's name is Adolf Junkers.
It's so stupid because I even did the math on his name, and it's like, yeah, no, that does not track.
Well, no, if he's the same, he says later on he's the same age as Dr. Tenma. So this would mean he was born in probably about
I did the math.
1950 something.
Yeah, it was the 50s. I did the math on it.
So this baby was named Adolf post Hitler's suicide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it doesn't matter. It's a randomly picked name from someone who doesn't know a lot of German names. I'm
sure there are a lot of Adolfs in 1950s Germany too.
That's also probably true.
There are actually, like, it was still a name. Obviously with the extra context.
Mm-hmm.
It probably took a little bit for
of a dip
for it to disseminate out of the culture. To continue to show what a good doctor he is with excellent bedside manner, Dr. Tenma literally goes to fly a kite with a child in a wheelchair because he is the goodest boy.
Don't worry, young child. I learned how to fly kites correctly in Japan in my youth. Weird thing to say, doctor, but okay.
Yeah. But he's going about his day-to-day life. He's being fun with the patients. He's doing surgeries. I really like him doing the surgery with the observation theater there of the medical students. So they're all like, whoa, he's a wizard. He's doing so much cool doctor stuff. Amazing. We cut from that to Junkers being very bad at Frogger. Honestly, given because he's fleeing down the street in obvious terror for his life, running across the road and gets hit by a car. Honestly, judging by those tire tracks, I'm pretty sure his head actually got run over.
Yeah.
But he is rushed to the hospital. Of course, Agent Lunge is summoned because that's one of his suspects, and he uses this to summon Dr. Tenma to this other hospital because we need this man to be alive, and you're the only doctor who's worth anything. Dr. Tenma, so good to see you again. Do I know you? I mean, we literally haven't spoken in 9 years, but with my hard drive of a brain, I recall you precisely. Oh yeah, you're that freak from the BKA. I mean, it's so nice to see you again.
I'm gonna go save the patient for the patient's sake.
I'll do the surgery, but not to help you stinking cops. I'm gonna do it to save a life.
He rolls up in his Mercedes and then tells the police to screw off. This man is based. Yes, he's able to perform another miracle surgery and save Junker's life, who awakes later, an indeterminate amount of time later, saying, "The monster is coming."
Title drop.
You know, I had gotten so enthralled in all like the medical drama, I had legitimately forgotten that what the title of the manga was. And I'm like, where's the monster?
It is a slow burn for the first volume to really be like, it really lulls you into like, yes, no, this is just a medical drama.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I really liked the sort of bait and switch with whether or not it was like supernatural with Tenma's enemies dying. Because it very much gets you in the mindset of Tenma. It's very easy to see things from his perspective.
Mm-hmm.
You know, all of a sudden, it's like, what do you mean monster? You know?
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, Junkers is unwilling to cooperate with the Kappas.
Mm-hmm. Lunge might be a good investigator, but I'm not sure how good of an interrogator he is. He does come to him and lay out the classic of like, all right, I have already sussed out that you had two friends. You're not the actual killer. You're just the lockpick. But if you can give up the rest of your operation, we'll make a plea deal. Also, hello, Dr. Tenma, the man who just saved this man's life and are therefore he's greatly indebted to you. I still think you're a murderer and find you and hold you in great suspicion and disrespect. At which point Junker goes, I'll never work with a pig like you. Dr. Tenma is a perfect man. Also, I'm having PTSD flashbacks.
Yeah, he kind of screams and freaks out.
So the police decide to go, but they're deeply worried that this guy's going to wind up dead, especially because Lunge seems to think that Dr. Tenma's going to murder him because he is a serial killer. It's just the insane thing to think at this point. This is just a bias, but
very biased.
So they leave the room guarded, which very fair. This guy's a suspect in multiple homicides. Like, you would not.
There is a legitimate concern of him either rabbiting or dying, and like in equal measure.
So when Tenma goes to take him on a walk out on the quad, the cop is like, "Where are you going?" To give my patients some fresh air. You want to come along? It's a beautiful day out.
I don't like walking.
All right, you're lost, man.
Like, what a terrible cop. Like, he was told to guard this guy and then goes, I don't want to go for a walk.
Tenma has a heart-to-heart with Junkers about how, yeah, days like this really make you happy to be alive. Like that one boy I saved all those years ago, Johan. I don't know what happened to him, because he kind of disappeared in the middle of the night, but I really hope he's out there somewhere, living his best life.
He reminded me of what it really means to be a doctor.
The inherent good, and how it's always a good thing to save every life you come across.
And Junkers says, sufficiently warmed up to Dr. Tenma, begins his confession, talking about how the first time I ever broke into a place and stole something, I just wanted a cuckoo clock. I thought it was so cool. But then I got into my life of crime, and I had my partners, and we were working together, but then the monster killed them right in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I ran.
Yeah. And Dr. Tenma essentially just tells him, you've got to come clean, and it's going to be hard, but like, you don't understand the amount of like weight you can just take off your soul, as you can suddenly just absolve yourself of all your past wrongs, and then you can move forward looking at the future. I did it, and I'm definitely not going to have any earth-shaking revelation that reveals that was all a falsehood. We cut to Dr. Becker, who is now hanging out with his boy, Dr. Tenma, and they are on their way to, I believe this is the relationship I mentioned.
Another blind date that Becker has set up.
This is the one that's literally ridiculous, because it's like the prime minister's daughter or some like insane connection.
Daughter of a parliamentarian.
Yep. Okay, so not smart, that insane, but still.
But like he's really talking about smart, gorgeous, the total package. His hands are in an amusing position. I fucking love this guy.
Smart, capable, gorgeous, boinga boinga.
Meanwhile, Dr. Tenma walks by a toy store, sees a cuckoo clock, and it's just like, my God, my patient's lost childhood innocence. I can buy it from a store.
Let's go! Dude, are you seriously going to walk out on another blind date? I'll be back! Oh my God.
Spoiler alert, he will never come back.
The heart-to-heart seems to have been all that Junker needed, because he goes out to talk to the officer and says he wants to come clean about everything. Unfortunately, there's a problem with that.
The officer is dead.
Yep.
He's apparently been poisoned with a candy wrapper next to him. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
Junkers is gone.
Yeah, because Dr. Tenma gets back and sees all this and drops.
He gets back with great timing.
No,
he gets back with movie timing.
It's insane that he ran with this cuckoo clock that's way too big, by the way. This is like a $3,000 or $4,000 cuckoo clock he bought on a whim. This thing is huge. Like, and then
he's a surgeon. He's
probably
rich.
Got more money than God.
Yeah, but like, this is a gift for a stranger. Like, this is
fair.
Anyway, he drops it on the ground. It breaks because it's a whole bunch of like complicated gears, and goes running after.
Mm-hmm.
He's able to barely catch a glimpse of Junker as he's running off the grounds of the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
He leaps from the fire escape, action hero that he is, and gives chase through the city streets to a parking garage. And in actually a pretty effective horror scene, Dr. Tenma is moving through the garage calling out to him, and his Junker's voice is echoing back through the concrete, like, Doc, seriously, stay back. You don't want to come here. No, you can't.
I don't want him to kill you. I'm fine dying. I deserve it. You're a good person. Don't let him hurt you.
Mm-hmm. Who are you talking about?
I honestly kind of love Junkers in this scene because, like, he starts off that way, and it's very real how his demeanor shifts over the course of the scene.
His resolve kind of cracks when he's literally staring down the barrel.
Because we confront him on the top floor, on the ground, a shadowed man pointing a gun directly at him. And I love how they frame him because, like, the perpetrator is completely in shadow as if there's like a spotlight behind him.
Mm-hmm.
He's just a black shape. And again, it goes into that idea of, it's like, at this point, I'm fairly convinced that the series is not going to go in a supernatural direction, but like the vibe and the headspace it puts you in, he feels like a demon. Like, he doesn't feel like a normal human being.
Yeah.
There are many characters who describe meeting this individual as witnessing the devil.
Yeah. And like the art does a lot to sell that. Like, it's not just said that he's like the devil. He really does feel like it.
And then it's even spookier when Tenma runs up. Junker's still in the light, is screaming at him, "No, Doc, seriously, run! If you see his face, he will kill you!" And the shadowed man says, Dr. Tenma, it's been so long. Johan?
You probably don't even remember me, the twin that you saved all those years ago. And at which point, Johan?
Immediate recognition.
Oh, Johan, I suppose that is a name I went by once. Well, I consider you to be, well, even more than a parent. You saved my life, after all. I'm going to finish executing this one, and then I'll let you go. And he holds the barrel on Junkers for a long time. Like, it kind of teeters on the edge of being farcical, how long he lets Junkers monologue while pointing a gun at him. But then we learn later that he's a real sadist. He's a sadist who loves reveling in the pain and terror of others. So letting Junkers do his desperate rant is probably just doing it for him. I don't know.
Yeah, no, he's enjoying the power he has over the situation. It's very clear.
Mm-hmm.
He clearly feels to the characters like a force of nature, and he enjoys that fact.
Yeah.
And like, this is when Dr. Tenma essentially goes like, "No, stop, Johan. You can't kill him. Like, saving your life was what sent me on to my whole thing, that like every life is special. There is nobody who is better than anyone else. No one deserves to die." And he says this in such a way that just makes Johan laugh, which is so terrifying.
Yep.
Because Johan is essentially just, "Oh, wait, that was your takeaway? Doctor, I heard they made you chief of surgery after what I did for you. Those men who deserved to die, who you said you wished were dead, I killed all 3 of them for you as thanks for saving my life. You're the reason they died."
Uh-huh.
It just hits him like a wave of like, what? Yeah.
It really is. It's heart-wrenchingly effective how much Johan is able to completely uproot Tenma's entire like foundation of his personality and philosophy.
He just blue screens, and this is the point where Junkers, his resolve starts to break in his final moments, which is very understandable and relatable. This is such a good moment because it's like, hopefully no one ever, like has to experience anything remotely close to this, but like, you don't know how you're going to react, when you're facing the end. And
Mm-hmm.
this is someone who's made bad choices before, so.
He goes from, Doc, get out of here, let him kill me, save yourself, to, Doc, please, I don't want to die, save me.
Yeah.
And then Johan, just super cold, shoots him directly in the head, leaves him for dead, walks out wearing his black and white checkered jacket, and you're like, God damn it, he's Benny from New Vegas.
He even double taps.
Well, see, no. He's not Benny from New Vegas because he's actually competent.
What in the goddamn?
Oh,
He is Benny if he were competent.
Yes.
And I just love his final scene because it's him as he's walking by. Dr. Tenma is frozen in shock over like what is going on. And he's just kind of like twisting the knife a little and goes, I would have died that day. You brought me back to life, doctor. And just the look on Tenma's face as he just slowly walks away. And you get to see his face. And he is like beautiful. He is like cherubic.
Mm-hmm.
And like his expression is just like
This beatific smile.
It's like it's the context of the scene and just, like the way the eyes are drawn. It's like, he knows.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes it so much worse. And it's like the last we see of him is he goes back into the shadows, into devil mode.
I will say, in the moment of reading, my like pie in the sky prediction was that this was when he said that, like, oh yes, Johan, that was a name that I had. My prediction was that wasn't Johan, that was actually Anna dressing like a man. But I'm wrong. It turns out it's a bit more complicated than that, and we will get to it.
I mean, because that is a very, like, that's reasonable reading of what's happened so far. Like,
yeah, no, I did consider that. I'm more so. I'm actually a little bit proud of myself because I did kind of predict what the actual situation was. Like, I wasn't super confident, but had it not been revealed by the end of our reading, it would have been like my prediction going forward. But like, it's set up in such a way that like that is a believable path the story could take. And it's like, is he the devil? Is he actually the devil? Like, it feels like he could be. I mean, most certainly at this point, Tenma probably thinks so.
I think the majority of characters who interact with Johan think that. Like,
yeah,
and not for nothing, he's very handsome. He's got the blonde hair. He's got a certain light aspect to him.
He's got a certain antichrist demeanor.
Yes.
But as a very reasonable person, Dr. Tenma immediately goes to Inspector Lunge to report the insane truth.
Yeah, this is the good boy TM moment that made me laugh because like this is so thoroughly in character for him. But he just goes to the police and says everything. Like, they're not gonna believe you.
They're not buying this one, man. Come on.
I'm just saying, he is a very smart man. He is not a very intelligent man.
There's a lot of volumes of character growth for Dr. Tenma to stop going to the police.
Yeah.
They really need to beat that into him.
Mm-hmm.
This is sort of like the big thing, though, is that like it makes so much sense for the Tenma that we have been following up to this point to, even after everything that happened, his response to that is to go to the guy he knows is suspicious of him and tell him this insane nonsense. Because of course you go to the cops when you witness a murder. That's just what you do. Like,
and of course, Lunge is just like, so what you're telling me is that the child that you saved 9 years ago is actually a serial killer who killed the one witness to the actual serial killing that I had been investigating, the one whose life you saved. And if he is actually the serial killer, it would wipe all guilt from you. Possibly also linked to those murders 9 years ago. Yes, that's what I'm saying, because that's the truth. Yeah, okay, sure, buddy.
And this is like every single further step in this story is Lunge more and more so being like, Occam's razor. There's only one solution to this problem, obviously.
It is Lunge going, he is in such a ridiculous situation and there is no evidence, but like, it can't keep being crazy coincidences. Because like, he lets him go from this questioning because they can't prove anything.
Yeah.
Like, there's no gun residue on his hands. Like, he doesn't even really have any reason to have owned a firearm. Like, but it
like,
sure is weird.
And it's like going back to his suspicions from 9 years ago when he had the airtight alibi, it very easily could have been done through a proxy. We know that the serial killer uses henchmen because one of the henchmen who knew too much just got killed. Like, there's so many easy solutions for it to obviously be Tenma. And I think the one big thing is Lunge is taking all of this stuff as insane coincidences. But the big thing is, they aren't really coincidences because Johan is the one orchestrating all this. The big unbelievable thing, the big leap, the big surprise is, no, that 10-year-old was already a serial killer back then. Like, that's the one piece that Lunge doesn't have.
Mm-hmm.
If you accept the idea that Johan shot his air quotes parents, as we'll find out, and also poisoned the candy that those doctors took, then everything else connected with Tenma, suddenly it's not suspicious anymore. But I mean, poor Tenma, at this point, he's like, am I actually responsible for those deaths?
I love the thing that in order for Johan to have killed those people with the poison candy from his like medicine bed, that means he had to have been like tonguing the muscle relaxers he was given and sitting in perfect.
Ew.
Isn't that what that's called?
Yes.
No, I think you're right.
Where you put like the pill behind your tongue.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think Jay is just reacting to the word.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, he had to have been not on muscle relaxers while he was recovering from brain surgery so that he could poison some candy on the off chance the evil doctor would eat it.
Well, see, no, that's the thing. He had to have poisoned multiple candies and then removed the ones that the doctors didn't take. Like, that's the only way he could guarantee it would happen.
Or how did he anticipate that the doctors would be so greedy that they would take literal candy from babies? Like,
I mean, here's the thing. Probably not the first time that doctor has stolen it.
That's what I mean. Like, this had happened before, and he's like, okay, I'm going to get these guys and, like, poison the candy.
But anyway, Dr. Tenma walks home in the rain and collapses on the street, presumably within eyesight of Inspector Lunge, and just starts crying. And that is the end of Volume 1.
Which is the most, melodrama thing one can possibly do. Collapse on the street and scream your agonies to the heavens.
But, I mean, in case you haven't been following along, it sure is weird. We mentioned both of the twins disappeared, but we've only really followed up on one of them.
Wow.
I wonder what's going on there. Anyway, we'll come back to that after the break.
Indeed we shall. We'll be right back, everybody.
After these messages.
Hey! Do you live in Germany and you're tired of having gay sex? Don't worry. 5 years ago, we invented a great new thing. Women!
And welcome back to the show, folks, where last we left our investigators, doctors, victims of horrible crimes. Dr. Tenma had just been thoroughly disillusioned of everything that he believed in by the horrible, amoral actions of a person he had saved from the brink of death.
Correct.
Yeah, that'd rock my center of...
He is still employed as a doctor, so he's juggling a lot. I don't know if he took a sabbatical or what, but yeah.
Pretty sure he does, considering everything that happens going forward.
Well, everyone mentions his extended vacation, but it's not very relaxing, as we'll say.
Mm-hmm.
We open up at a college where a professor is giving a lecture asking about the reasoning behind a ruling in a court case and the precedents that it set, and intercut with a woman running into the classroom. She bursts her way in, panting for breath, apologizing for being late, and immediately answers the question through her gasps for air. And this is how we are introduced to Nina. Totally not Anna. What are you talking about?
At this point, I'm kind of like, this really clued me in on what was happening. I don't know. Mm-hmm. It was at this point, I was disillusioned with my previous theory, which was it could have been either one of the twins that could have been a perpetrator, or at least like perhaps it was something they were both in on. I don't know. At this big reveal, it became apparent that Anna was innocent in all of this, I think.
Yeah, well, innocent is a word for the revelation we have later. But
I kind of got the idea that she might have been responsible for at least one of the injuries that night.
Well, yeah, but what I mean by this is that she wasn't the villain. Yeah, like she was legitimately traumatized and had to do something unsavory, like against her will, so much so that it literally caused amnesia.
Yeah.
She has a conscience about this, what happened.
Yeah.
Because seeing her living her idyllic college life, it did cause me to have to like reevaluate my assumptions, because it's like, okay, so Johan is Johan. It's not Anna, with hair cut short, dressing like a man for deniability. So they're not pulling an Android 17 and 18 here. So she's going about her own life, and she seems pretty unaware of the drama that she's caught up in. Oh, it's not that she's unaware. She literally can't remember. Because we go... Yep. We go through a day of her college life. She rushes into class late because she was working her pizza delivery job. She's a star student. She is
she does the standard thing of answering the professor's question even though she was late when no one else can, to establish that like she's a star student.
She is such a 90s movie protagonist. It's insane. Like she
really is. Yeah.
She has a part-time job. She goes to college. She's got a great friend group. She's got an Asian stereotype, a keto instructor.
That broke me.
This guy is insane because this is drawn by a Japanese man.
Full buck teeth and glasses. I'm like, dude.
It was the point where it's like they're establishing that she does Aikido. It's like, okay, she shot her brother. She's got ice in her blood. Yeah. Her brother killed the parents and she retaliated.
See, that wasn't what I jumped to. Spoiler alert, Jake's right. But what I jumped to was the idea of, so it wasn't... So Anna's not, Johan, serial killing, blah, blah, blah. So then what was it? How did the parents actually die? And I was making the same assumptions that Tenma and Lunge were making. Surely the kids aren't the ones that did it, right? So operating under that assumption, I'm like, is there a third sibling? Maybe either a triplet or like an older sibling that was seeking vengeance for some unknown reason. But spoiler alert, again, Jake is right.
Yeah, I kind of suspected, like, my working theory was what turned out to be the case pretty early on. But for me, the big thing is they're establishing how competent Anna is. And then it's like, by the time it's like, okay, she knows Aikido, so they're going to put her in some kind of like spy thriller action. sequence. She's like that was the point where it's like, okay, yes, my original working theory, I'm confident now.
Mm-hmm. But she's so good at Aikido that even the instructor is like, man, if I fought her, I'd get my ass whooped, and that'd be embarrassing. I'm not doing it. So I'm going to politely decline her request for a sparring match and have her fight some other schmuck in the class. But we see that this idyllic life has some fractures in its mask. As she's doing her pizza delivery job, she sees some kids running around in costume for it. It's not Halloween. It's a German holiday I'm not familiar with. But she returns home to her parents and she's like, hi, Mom. Hi, Dad. Yes, I'm so hungry. I'm ready for dinner. I saw some kids in costume and wow, wasn't that something? I wish I did that as a kid. What do you mean, daughter? Of course you did that as a kid. I did? Yes.
Here, look at these photos that suspiciously don't show any faces.
Well, a lot of them must show faces unless they're literally just like blank faces when you zoom in on them.
Yes, but there's no like distinguishing features. Like very, very explicitly, the picture of a small girl in a costume that is in the album, the rat mask that she's wearing covers her eyes and nose. So there's no real like way for Nina to tell that it's her. But it's like, it's a young girl in a costume. And my
parents say it's me, so why would I question it?
Uh-huh. Sure is weird. I don't remember anything before the age of 10. Wild, huh?
Man, talking about it now is kind of insane that they have this photo album.
Yeah, right?
It does make you kind of wonder what it would look like if it was zoomed in on. I guess if it's like all baby pictures and then otherwise pictures of the parents, because
it could also be
now.
It could also be they had a child and they lost her, and that's why they adopted.
I presumed that was the case.
It's also like photography from the 1980s, so it's not like the highest resolution in the world.
That's true.
And they were like, man, we only know how to take pictures of men because that's all that exists at this point in time. If only someone invented women in 5 years.
But Nina is very familiar with this newfangled technology of email.
Oh, yeah.
Super advanced technology, far beyond my ken.
She gets dramatic breakup messages from her friend Hannah talking about her love drama and is like, just get over him, girl. Anyway, I've got an email from blank, subject blank, which I don't know how you do that on 1995 internet.
I think you could more easily do that on 1995 internet because they didn't have all the checks.
Fair.
Yet, Nina, don't click that link. Wait, no, don't click it.
Yes, to Nina from blank, subject blank. I shall send you the most beautiful flowers, and you will be smothered in flowers. And she's like, wow, it's that boy from my class who keeps hitting on me, and I keep turning him down. You're such a jokester, Peter. Anyway, I'm going to my therapy appointment. Yeah, so I don't remember anything from the first 10 years of my life, and I keep having these dreams of a terrible figure moving out of the darkness. Every night he comes to do something. I can't even...
Oh, yeah. Anna, you shouldn't be worrying about that.
But
think about the future.
I'm the most effective therapist that you have been seeing me regularly.
But doctor, I've literally been running myself ragged by packing every waking moment of my life with work and school and hobbies and...
Fraulein, that's just being in college. Everyone is like that, yeah?
You are wondering who you are, but at your age, who can tell? In fact, it is something you will struggle with your whole life.
Doctor, I'm going to just point this out right now. I don't believe you're actually German.
It didn't actually Polish.
Nein, I am the Deutsch.
I am the Deutsch.
What do you mean?
Yeah, but like, I guess she must have just started seeing this therapist because he seems like he's just like surface level stuff with her.
Yeah.
Or is it canonically like she's been seeing him ever since her brother disappeared, but she doesn't remember her brother disappearing?
I think she might have started seeing him as like the school therapist. Because it doesn't seem like her parents are aware she's seeing him. Which means she would have had to be 18 or whatever.
Well, we know she's 19 going on 20 in a few days because that's the plot of the next couple of chapters. So there are a couple of points where the parents are like, we have to let her do what she will because she's an adult now.
Yeah. But she's still their little baby, their daughter, and they love her so much.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen to them.
Exactly.
Anyway, she confronts Peter at lunch, and Peter's just like, what the fuck are you talking about? I didn't send you no shit about covering you in flowers.
Wish, Peter, that was your chance. What the hell?
Take the hint.
Oh, man, that's all I need. Another romantic rival. Peter, please, my guy.
Peter, just say it was you. Just go buy flowers. She is down to clown.
But
unfortunately, Peter is a clown.
Yes. Yeah, yes. He fumbled that bag so bad; it was painful, and we had to read that. That was not in live action, and it still made me cringe.
While Peter is desperately trying to recover the bag, Nina goes to class, where the professor is like, "Oh yes, and now we will talk about this murder case where a family of 4 was killed, both parents and their 2 children." Both parents and their 2 children were killed. Nina, do you have something to say about this case? Both parents and their 2 children were killed.
What she has to say is trauma flashback.
Yes. And then she, as a sleeper agent, was activated.
Yep. And then Peter decides to fumble the bag harder by going like, hey, what's the matter, Nina? You have some kind of traumatic flashback? Huh? What's the matter? You gonna have a little flashback? Oh, you can't handle it? I bet you wanted some trigger warnings on that class. Whoa, Peter.
Yeah, bro's literally just like, what? Did you watch a scary movie that scarred you as a kid? Well, you know what those psychiatrists say? Just find the root of the problem and it's not as bad. You just need to loosen up.
The worst part is none of this is exaggerated. That's literally what happens.
My favorite part about this is we get Nina going, I don't remember my childhood before the age of 10. And then it just hard cuts to her parents talking about, implying Peter heard that line and was just like, oh, that's weird. I don't want to deal with it.
Peter heard that and went, all right, too much baggage for me. You know what they say, don't stick your dick in crazy. I'm out.
I'm out. You don't remember the first 10 years of your life. Oh, no, that means you're only 9.5.
Yep.
You ain't catching me with a case.
Oh, my God.
I think that's how that works, but all right.
You women are really wily for being invented 3.5 years ago.
Shut up.
Anyway, Nina gets another email.
I am coming for you.
Oh, no, that doesn't make it better.
Good thing this is early internet, because if that was someone sliding into her Twitter DMs, that sentence would mean an entirely different set of circumstances.
Yes.
One different letter is all it takes.
I will come for you soon. I am done.
My.
But as Nina is left to process that latest creepy email, we cut to Tenma with a notable 5 o'clock shadow going around Cologne talking to the neighbors of the murdered family. From, the beginning of this time skip. As some of the neighbors are like, oh yeah, no, so they weren't exactly childless. They were watching over a kid.
I think his name was Michael?
Michael something. Yeah, I don't really remember him. He was kind of nondescript. Yeah, he didn't even stay in class long enough to make it through like an entire school year, so he's not in the yearbook. Sorry.
And I can't even get his records from when he was in class, because completely coincidentally, we had a fire 6 years later that destroyed all our records from specifically the time he was there.
I'm just saying, they're connected.
Gee, I wonder why. As Tenma is walking around, dejected cop on the beat.
He's in his gumshoe phase now.
He's taking old women out on lunch dates.
He's in a trench coat. He's got the 5 o'clock shadow. He's strung out. His hair is lanky. He's having trauma flashbacks in the middle of the street. Bro really speed ran becoming a noir detective.
But it's okay, because he found an old woman who's really into true crime novels.
Man, the more things change, the more they stay the same, huh?
And she's just like, hey, I solved the problem about that boy. Also, buy me cake.
Yeah, sure, I'll buy you some cake. Do you want cake? The cake here is really good. No, I am too haunted by the sins of my past to enjoy the pleasures of this world. Bro, just have some cake. She's like, a child that they were caring for, and all those other middle-aged couples appeared to be childless, but they had a child that they were caring for, right? Yes. Did he have his sister? Sister? No, there's no mention of a sister. Okay.
Dr. Tenma, I believe you're mistaken. All of this would have had to have happened in 1986. Which, as we all know, is 7 years before the invention of women. How could there be a sister?
That's
just a tiny part of Jay dies every time I do that bit, and I'm really just driving on it.
Anyway, Dr. Tenma keeps asking neighbors. Eventually, he does find somebody who's actually helpful.
Yes. After he gets the door slammed in his face for another neighbor, a man ominously from an open window says, I know all about him. Come up. I just made some tea. We will talk. Okay, mysterious man in the window. I will do whatever you say. So freaking menacing. He's just walking down the street and a guy in a window says, I was eavesdropping on your conversation about the plot. Got some exposition for you. Come on. Have a seat. Yeah, sure. Here's my card. I don't care. Sit down. Have tea. Look at these pictures of me in a war uniform. You might be thinking, wow, a German man in a war uniform, but it's 1995. Could you be? Yes, I served in the German Navy during World War II.
The Kriegsmarine.
He is, in fact, a part of the Kriegsmarine, yes.
So did you just have all the swastikas airbrushed out of your wartime photos, or?
Yes. What swastikas? I can't see. I'm blind.
Oh my god, that was a revelation later in this conversation.
But yes,
this is kind of interspersed with essentially Nina's trying to find her Prince Charming, and they go down the wrong rabbit hole for a little bit.
They think it's a kid from another guy in the class who's always looking at her.
Does seem to fancy her.
But you know what?
But it's not him.
Yeah, you know what? That was a fair enough assumption. And I really like the way that it was presented to the audience, because it's her two friends who appear to be vapid, not really valley girls, but like, you know,
that vibe,
the stereotype of, ooh, the drama. And based on everything that they were describing, it's engineered to make the audience think, oh god, it's him. He's been here the whole time, hasn't he? But no, it's not Johan. Except when the guy that they're talking about actually does show up, Johan is in the background, and seeing him causes Nina to have a panic attack and pass out.
Mm-hmm. Again, it seems to be a theme.
Yep, poor girl.
But yeah, while that's going on, Dr. Tenma's talking to a Nazi, and he's essentially just like, I'd tell that boy about the war. He always loved hearing the stories about how men would cry when they were about to die, and the true terror of those who were witnessing death. He, real sick kid. Talked to him a lot, actually, because I'm real lonely, but, there was something wrong with him.
I was thankful to have the company, and you'd think most boys would take to war stories as fun adventures where you kind of paper over all the horror and crime and blood and death in order to make it more palatable to young men. But no, he really wanted to know about all the looks in their eyes as they saw the Reaper coming for them.
Terror amused him.
That's such a good line.
How could you tell? Did you see it in his face? I can't see shit. I'm blind.
Also, because I'm blind, he also left me with just an insane amount of exposition that I'm going to give you right now.
Yonkers did say specifically he will kill you if you see his face.
It's literally Johan knows this guy because he doesn't know what he looks like. Can't ever track him down.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He can't identify him.
So because
lineup.
He has all the power, he immediately starts gloating. Like,
this is just Artemis Fowl if he was more of a serial killer.
I mean, yes. So it's book 1, Artemis Fowl.
Yeah, boy genius who loves gloating. Yeah.
Also loves the suffering of others if it's book 1, Artemis. Like,
yep.
Yeah, so Dr. Tenma's just like, no, you need to trust me. That boy opened up to me. And the guy's just like, no, he only opened up to one person, his sister. And he said that his sister would be on her 20th birthday. He would come for her and they would be reunited. Also, his sister's in Heidelberg.
Well, I'm off to Heidelberg then. All right, have fun. Yeah, and also, listen, despite being blind, just from all the conversations I had with him, I know that kid's real fucked up. So, like, if you kill him, I'm not saying it'd be good, but I'm not saying it'd be good, but it would probably save the world a lot of suffering.
I mean, if you had some kind of worldview where it's always a good thing to save a life, maybe reconsider that for this one particular individual. This person is the devil. Like,
but now it's time to introduce the best character in anything ever. My favorite guy.
Sam, stop simping for Scorps.
Yeah, really.
We know where your loyalties lie.
Herr Mauler.
Herr Mauler, we open up to him just chomping down a bratwurst.
His assistant complaining about how you stink. You promised when I took this job you would bathe at least 2 days, at least once every 2 days. I ain't got time to bathe, woman. I'm a hard-hitting journalist who's always on the beat. If you weren't so uptight, maybe you'd be married.
You know what? Screw you. I'm going home. By the way, you have a visitor and he smells exactly as bad as you. So you know what? Fine.
You deserve each other.
Slackers leaving at 5 p.m. like this is some sort of on-the-clock job. How's anyone supposed to get the real hard-hitting news around here?
The hard-hitting news you're doing seems to be drinking the coffee machine and eating the vending machine.
He's the greatest journalist since J. Jonah Jameson is all I'm saying.
Dr. Tenma's just there begging. The police turned me away. You're my only hope. Dr. Tenma, stop going to the police.
Of course the police turned you away. That story is stupid.
You're telling me that a kid is actually a serial killer, is coming on a symbolically appropriate day to snatch away his twin sister and do another of his weirdly specific murders. Man, if I read this in a mystery novel, I'd call it hackneyed. Get out of my face.
Dr. Tenma, you're telling me that for some very complicated reason, you desperately need to find this woman before she turns 20? It'll be too late and she'll be basically gone by then? What do you mean by that?
It's not my fault that everything I do to try to help people sounds so bad. But no, I'm with Mauler on the line of, you seriously expect me to believe that a guy was a serial killer at the age of 10? Yes. That's bullshit. Get out of my face. No, listen, hold on.
I just need records.
I just need records because I know that there were 2 of them, and then one of them went missing. I just need to know about, like, missing persons reports of a kid around, like, the age of 11 in this area from, like, 1987 onward. Oddly specific. Also, the publisher is a Luddite, so have fun going through all these books.
He just slams down a bunch of documents on a table, basically like, yep, you asked for this, buddy. This will get rid of you.
Leave me alone. Clearly expecting Tenma to balk and walk away.
At which Tenma gets That look in his eyes, you know the one.
Mahler wakes up at his desk the next morning. Another one of the reporters is like, "Boss, did you sleep here again? I ain't got time to go home." "Yeah, you and that Japanese weirdo you left in the archives." "Wait, he's still here? What?" "Hey, buddy, pack it in." Oh, God, I think he's dead." Tenma is not dead. He is simply very tired, because I don't think he's slept more than 5 hours in the last fortnight.
He's also not eaten in like a week, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel that. I know that feeling.
Jacob.
Meanwhile,
that might be me right now.
Meanwhile, Mauler is just eating his full breakfast, going like, "Yeah, I come here every day for breakfast." You come to a restaurant every day for breakfast.
It could be a diner. I mean, a lot of old people do that.
No. Tenma's just like...
His wife left.
Yeah, he's just like, "So you don't go home? Nothing for me there. My wife left me." "Oh, so you have no family?" "Nope, wife left. Also, she took my daughter with her." "Wait, hold on. What? What do you mean you've got no family?"
He means his family's not with him, therefore he has no family.
Yeah.
So you're estranged from your family. What was it that did that? Working to the point of completely neglecting them? Also all the smoking?
You could just not do those things.
No.
Nah, sounds like bullshit.
As a doctor, I ethically have to tell you to not smoke so much. You're going to die. Shut up.
Then we cut to the adopted family of Nina going, "Ah, yes, we've made her fancy new sweater, and we did promise that on the 20th birthday we would tell her that she wasn't really our daughter, but she's just so happy. Maybe we could just tell her. We could just lie for a little longer."
She's so happy, and we love her so very much. You know what? Even if she's not our biological daughter, she is still our daughter, and we love her very much. We'll say nothing.
"Honey, please, embrace me as we continue hanging death flags for our daughter's birth."
So many death flags.
I'm sure nothing bad will happen. Look, they're not going to an aquarium. I'm not scared yet. If she's going to an aquarium for her birthday, then they're definitely dead.
Yeah, but we cut back to the amazing investigative duo of Mauler and Tenma as they luck into a missing child's report placed in the paper, indicating that a boy of the exact age he'd need to be disappeared at that time. And unfortunately, that connects some dots, and Mauler goes, "Hey, you said that he was coming for that girl on her 20th birthday? Well, if they're twins, they probably have the same birthday, and looks like his birthday's today."
Oh, crap. Well, we've got a serial killing to stop. Go, go, go! Why am I driving you? Whatever, I'm too caught up in this.
I wonder what Nina's up to right now.
What's this? I got an email saying that he'll be waiting for me at Heidelberg Castle at 7 p.m. tonight. Oh, Mama, Papa, I know it's my birthday, but I will be home later. I just need to meet up with a friend.
Oh, she's meeting up with a friend? Well, she is 20.
She's a grown woman. She can do what she wants.
I would have laughed so hard if Mauler just went like, "Here's his birthday. Oh shit, that was yesterday. All of this happened in the past. She's dead.
Oh no!" But no, dramatically appropriately, it is the day of the birthday, which means they are either just in time or just out of time to stop this serial killing, and now the chase is on.
I love how chapter 12 is just titled Birthday of Terror.
I enjoyed that too. It's like it's like flipping through the pages, get to the chapter title, and I just literally say out loud, "Birthday of Terror" in that voice.
Listen, this manga is not subtle. It's also very corny. And I love it.
It's a period piece spy thriller, is what it is, and
exactly.
it's reveling in that.
So, Birthday of Terror, and next chapter, House of Sorrow.
I would watch this if this was, a short syndicate. I would absolutely watch it. Yep.
I do like the exposition we get as the two of them are like, they're trying to get to her house because they've figured out who she must be. But and he's kind of just explaining, hey, I didn't mention this earlier, but when I was covering things for the newspaper, I covered those murders in Cologne. Crazy, grisly stuff. Turns a man's stomach. I can understand why you might be transfixed by this.
Tenma has another heart-to-heart with another down on his luck character. Fortunately, when they arrive at the house, nobody's dead yet. I'm sure it's going to stay that way.
I really do like how they set this up.
Oh, yeah, no, this is really well done.
Because they knock on the door, and the parents really don't want to answer, because they're like, we need to...
Yeah, I mean, Tenma makes it clear he knows what's actually going on, and the look of terror on the faces of the adoptive parents says it all.
And it's just like, the second he reveals that like they're looking for the other boy, they close the door because they don't want to deal with someone revealing that because they made the decision they were going to continue lying to Nina.
Yeah.
And they didn't want someone coming in and ruining that, so they slammed the door and they go, oh no, she made a birthday cake. We're at the right house. Like,
yeah, they do a lot to quickly endear you to the Scorp.
He does a good job.
It's going to be great to see how this character develops over the course of the series going forward.
I mean, it's really great because it's essentially just him talking to these two parents saying, your daughter's in danger. We really need to like solve this. Here, you take the car. Dr. Tenma takes the car and he's just like, I'm going to call the police. Let's split up then so you can head there as soon as possible. And it's him just going like, hey, we're dealing with a psycho. Like, if you're saying that 12-year-old kid did the crimes that like I saw, that is not a child. That is not a human being. That is a monster. A human being was not capable of the violence I saw. And like, you need to come back alive. And if you come back alive, I'll quit smoking, just like my quack doctor told me. And then maybe my wife will take me back.
The most death-flagged man in existence, which is really saying something considering the parents.
And then I love the scene, because it's him kind of just like, well, we got to call the cops. He walks in, he uses the phone, and he just goes like, the line's been cut.
Well, shit.
And it's kind of like he immediately seems to get the idea of what's going on. Like,
yeah,
he kind of resigns himself to it. He's just like, this was a trap. Like,
this was a trap. It was a trap the whole time. Where they played us like fiddles.
And we cut to Nina, who's waiting at Heidelberg Castle.
And she seems to have been stood up, but a groundskeeper tells her that she's supposed to wait here.
Very on edge groundskeeper, very suspicious.
He is so very, very antsy.
Yeah, it could be a tweaker. I mean, honestly, that was my first thought.
The wide-eyed stare he gives.
When Dr. Tenma shows up and his immediate response is to shank him with gardening shears, this is not a sane individual. Like,
nope.
Mm-hmm. Man, good thing that Nina is well trained in Aikido.
I knew they were going to use her for some kind of spy thriller action sequence. I didn't expect it to be this early. That's why they established her martial arts.
Yep, thus making her a peak Jake character.
You're not wrong.
And because she immediately pins him to the ground, they need something to tie him up with. So Dr. Tenma ties him up with his necktie.
Yep, binds his wrists with that. And they're like, quick, come with me, Anna. Your family is in danger. That's not my name. Is it my name? Oh, God, my head. Why does it hurt so bad? Come on. Your parents are about to die. Again.
My name is Dr. Tenma. Hopefully that won't cause any flashbacks.
Dr. Tenma? Yes, I saved your brother, Johan. Johan? Oh, God.
Anna? And then they run off screen and I can only assume there's a time skip implied here, because otherwise they literally run off screen and then Johan walks out from the shadows.
Well, see, that's the curious thing, because later it's said by the police that the times of death for the parents and Mauler, because spoiler alert, they die, is basically simultaneous with the tweaking groundskeeper. Mm-hmm. And it's a 20-minute drive from Heidelberg Castle to this family home. So it's literally impossible for a single perp to have killed all 4 victims.
Mm-hmm.
So Johan probably had an accomplice. He's had several.
Oh, 100%.
We know who the accomplices are because we see the blood on their clothes later.
Yes.
Yeah, I just like the idea that he was waiting in the bushes for the cops to say the parents are dead, and then he was going to come out.
Oh, you're all conveniently tied up. I don't even have to do anything.
Meanwhile, on the drive there, Dr. Tenma just keeps saying like key words to her backstory that cause existential crises.
Yeah, I'm going to use all of the ARC phrases and activate your sleeper agent powers.
It's like literally if you've ever played like one of those text line adventure games and you're just like, which one of these is the keyword that lets me do things? Look.
Yep.
Grab.
He is hammering all of them until he gets a reaction. Until he trips
Not on
a flag.
purpose either. He's doing it on accident.
Yep.
But yeah, they show up at the house. Dr. Tenma starts banging at the door and then realizes it doesn't look like the police ever came. And the door is unlocked.
And it's dark inside.
And man, the reveal shot to like how horrifying the inside of this place is really... Because like you see their faces and then you see them like shaken to their very core.
Mm-hmm.
And then like you just see snapshots of the very sidelines of the violence, really.
It's very effective. And
Dr. Tenma takes his advantage to start making out with that dad.
He desperately tries CPR. Nothing works. He tries CPR on Mauler. Nothing works. He grabs Mauler's fallen pack of cigarettes, pulls one out and puts it in his mouth, saying, "Come back to life. You loved these so much."
And all of this is enough to finally jog the last bit of memory loose. Nina/Anna, I tried to kill him.
Which is an immediate flashback for Tenma to Anna on the hospital bed just mouthing "kill." She's like, "I tried to kill my brother." And Tenma says, "And I brought him back to life."
Yep.
Yeah.
He tries to call the police, realizes the phone line's been cut, and heads out the front door to try and escape with Anna, only to see two shadowy figures at the front. But it's revealed they're police officers. They got the phone call.
Phone call. How convenient.
They got the phone call that they weren't able to make.
They come and they're like, "Oh wow, you had nothing to do with this?" "No, we just stumbled across the scene. We tried to prevent this. I'm so racked with guilt." "Oh wow, that's pretty tragic. All right, listen, let's just get you back to the station so that you can rest up." And that's the point where Tenma should have realized that something was up, because the police are never this charitable with him.
When they get to the point where he's just like, "Hey, you don't look like you're from around here. You from China?" "No, I'm from Japan." "They got a lot of Chinese food over there in Japan?" No, sir.
Not a lot, sir. "Hey, why are we actually going into the countryside? The police station for this town is downtown." "Oh, well, we're from the Munich Police Department." "Then why were you here? And why are we going there? Wait a minute, why wasn't there siren on? Wait a minute, the line was cut. Who made the call? Wait a minute, why would they just leave the crime scene unattended with a primary witness? There's bloodstains on their clothes."
Leaving the crime scene before backup arrived was the thing that tipped me off.
Their badges looked so real.
I love that for the reveal that happens later.
Yeah, because they immediately get flagged down by like a police stop on the bridge as like a checkpoint.
It's like, "Hey guys, sorry, we're just looking for a hit and run." And, "Oh, detectives! Hey, I didn't expect to see you guys out here." "Oh, yep, hi officer, we're just taking these guys back to the station." "Oh, an arrest? What happened?" "Oh no, they're just witnesses for a crime. We're trying to get them back for their testimony." "Oh, well, it's so good to see that you're doing your job, detective." God, they're actually integrated with the police force? They can't be imposters, right? What's going on? "Hey, my companion here, she's really had a rough time of it with her parents dying in front of her and all. Can I get her some fresh air?" "Oh, sure." They let them out of the car.
At this point, Tenma doesn't know what way is up anymore.
Yeah, which is why I said before that the incident with all those men dying and him getting promoted was the most confusing day of his life so far.
And I just love how he kind of just like, she just needs some fresh air. They walk over to the side of the bridge and he's just like panicking about everything he's seen and he has no idea how to react to anything. And then one of the police officers just steps out. It's like, hey, is everything all right, Dr. Tenma?
I didn't tell you my name.
Or that I'm a doctor.
How did you know? How did you know? How did you know?
And they... this is just the summer Hikaru died.
And before any...
They get the wide-eyed murder like, stare.
Oh, we screwed up. And so he grabs Nina and just back falls off of the bridge into the river.
Yeet.
Very 007. I love it.
I love how you can see the difference of expression between the two like beat cops of like, what the hell happened? And the two detectives going like, oh my God, we might get murdered for this.
Yeah.
Oh no, we screwed up.
We let something slip. Oh crap. Our necks are quite literally on the line right now.
The next morning...
Because jumping off a bridge into a river never kills you if you're doing it for a dramatic escape.
Yeah, the next morning we catch up with Tenma went to grab some things from a nearby shop.
Yeah, I'm not sure where they are in the wilderness, but I guess there was a gas station nearby.
Yeah, something like that.
They're by like a small river town. Like it's not
unreasonable.
They found an unused like hunting shed. It makes sense. But he gives her some coffee and some breakfast. It's like, I know that you probably don't have much of an appetite right now, but your body needs the calories. And yes, I'm giving you medical advice that I'm not following. Listen, just go get changed out of the wet clothes and we'll sort things out from there. And as she's changing, she starts monologuing as the backstory unlock in her brain lets her exposit about what was happening, because
one of the better scenes in this, because
it's really good.
She's basically recounting what happened, and in all honesty, most of it is exactly what you would expect. But the big reveal here is she picked up the gun that her brother had like put down after he had done his work, as it were. And
after he shot and killed the Lehmans, I believe their names.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he just laughs at her and says, after you shoot me, throw the gun out the window. Get me right in the head.
Get me right in the head.
Yeah.
Like it's a game to him.
He also wants it, like, he clearly cares enough about his sister that he doesn't want her to like go to jail for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's just like, cool, do it. The thing that really got me with this backstory is when they reveal that those weren't even their parents. Those were a couple that Johan tricked into getting them over the border, which means the insanity that he started doing this at 12, he'd been doing this before. Like,
She even talks about how the people that we stayed with always seemed to end up dead. It wasn't until the Lehmans that I finally caught him. So God knows how many people he murdered as a child.
Yeah. And then, that realization.
And then I just love how Dr. Tenma just cannot comprehend like the tragedy of this as Anna is crying in front of him. He just says the complete nonsense line that I love. Why don't you have some food, drink some coffee, and then go to sleep? Dr. Tenma.
Drink some coffee and then go to sleep.
Have a nice full thermos of coffee and then go straight to bed.
Are you torturing me?
Listen.
That's what I do.
Listen, she's literally fallen to the ground, pounding the earth with her fists, screaming, "Why did you save him? I thought I ended this by shooting him. Why did you save him?"
And literally, like, over there like a MacGuffin saying, how was I supposed to know all of it?
I mean, that is the thing, because, like...
Bro is on autopilot.
And, like, obviously, the you know, the point that this is building to is you can't anticipate that you're like, you know, a doctor can't anticipate that their patient is the devil. You can't anticipate the moral the moral fiber of a stranger you choose to help, but like,
yeah, this is butterfly effect, the manga.
It is still worth saving everyone you can. It is still worth, like, that's obviously what it's building to, but this is the low point. Like,
this is Dr. Tenma coming to the point that he's just like, I had no idea I was saving a monster. I had no way of knowing that. I can't really be at fault for this, but this is my responsibility.
I just love the bell curve of, like, it's one extreme after the next. Like, literally, he makes one split decision, loses everything instantaneously. And then he
makes a deal with the devil to get it all back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Literally the worst case scenario. And now you have to fix it.
He would have been just as happy with Dr. Becker's life, probably. He probably would have gone back to Japan at some point and, like...
Yeah, he was thinking about it. I mean, he still says that... I mean, that was what he was contemplating, you know, when everything was downhill, you know, he lost his position at the hospital. He had no opportunities for promotion. He potentially wouldn't even be able to transfer hospitals because, you know, that's very insular, especially without a, like, recommendation. So it's like, why not? I just go back to Japan.
Even afterward, to some degree, he has a foot out the door because when he's, like, after the time skip, when he's sort of, like, in his best life, as it were, he's still, like, considering maybe going back to Japan, and his patients are still the ones saying, no, you can't leave us, and keeping him there.
You're literally the only one we've got.
Anyway, Dr. Tenma makes the same mistake he always does, where he tries to go to the police.
Bro, you think he'd learn?
Well, this is kind of the point where he does, because he sees the two detectives that
he knows they're on Johan's payroll.
Yeah. So at that point, he just leaves.
Mm-hmm. He also gets, like, insanely close to them for him not to be noticed.
Yeah, I was sure they saw him, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's very tense.
Thankfully, there's a big crowd of reporters around, because not only was there another murder fitting that serial killer case, not only was there a murder at Heidelberg Castle, but also a prominent journalist was murdered.
I also love how that entire crowd of journalists is all just like, we're looking for the only Japanese man in all of Heidelberg. Where could he possibly be? Meanwhile, Dr. Tenma is standing in the crowd,
actively trying to move through the crowd to go talk to the cops.
Excuse me, Japanese man coming through.
Onegaishimasu.
I'm sure it's fine. It's like in JoJo's where everyone speaks Japanese until they randomly speak another language.
At this point, Tenma is finally disillusioned with the police being of any aid, because clearly Johan is deeply integrated into the authorities. And so he makes a call back to Herr Mauler's newspaper and offers them some information, saying that you are my only hope to get the truth out.
Well, presumably he's going to try and bring Nina to them.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the patient who was already a flight risk 9 years ago turns out still a flight risk. She's not there. She left him behind some sesame bun sandwiches and a note saying it's not your fault, and is nowhere to be seen.
Unfortunately, Agent Lunge
finds the necktie.
Yeah, still on the case, finds the thing that the Henkel Castle victim was tied up with.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, yes, a high-quality necktie of a rather nondescript pattern. And yet, connected to these murders that I suspect that one guy of being involved with. Miss Ava Heinemann, yes, I see that you are busy being a belligerent drunkard in your luxurious house. Ever since your father died 10 years ago, how do you maintain such wealth? I've married and divorced 3 men that took all their alimony money. Can't get one over on me. Ha!
I want to know what relationship she has with a judge, where the judge is just like, so you've got 2 alimonies, and you want a third equally large alimony.
Yeah.
Ma'am, you're aware alimony is to maintain the same standard of life. You can't really stack them like that. That doesn't make any sense.
My standard of life is very high.
Okay.
She needs to maintain the same level of completely fucked up.
Exactly.
Like, these are all like super rich people she's getting alimonies from. It's just the idea that you would have two of them coming in and then you'd get a third one approved in a divorce is just but yeah, her main thing is she is looking at the photo of her and Dr. Tenma for
presumably been staring at it, drinking whiskey for the past 10 years.
She's sufficiently pickled at this point.
Well, and I mean, like, she says it out loud later, but the thing is, he is the only one who actually cared about her. Even if he only cared about her because he was naive.
Which really does make her an interesting character. Because, again, she is so close to getting it. She is so close to character growth.
I was going to say the same thing, where she's so close to being sympathetic. She's so close to turning over a new leaf. She's so close to being...
But that would mean that she'd have to be vulnerable.
And she'd have to accept responsibility for the misdeeds she's committed, which... I don't know. I feel like that's a running theme here of, you know, who's guilty of what.
And I mean that, yeah, in a lot of different ways too, because like we find out after the absurdity of like how specific this necktie is, because Inspector Lunge literally goes, yes, the thread count on this is very sophisticated. It's actually proprietary to a single artisan here in the city that you and your father used to frequent. And I'm sure you were listed as the person who purchased this particular necktie. And I'm just like, that's insane.
It's absolutely insane. At which point she says, I've bought so many men so many gifts so I could suck them dry for all their money because I'm a gold digger. Did you understand that I'm a gold digger?
Other
Bring
than the
me a bottle of booze.
I think it's worth noting, until he got to the gold digger part, Sam was quoting the manga verbatim. I just want to point that out.
I mean, here's the other thing, is when he brings up the necktie, that's when she just becomes horrible monster woman. Like, that's when she goes like, yeah, I'm going for alimony number 4.
Yeah, which is in character to what we've seen before. There is a panel of her seeing it and having a kind of unreadable facial expression. We learn later that she recognized it basically instantly and began covering for Tenma.
Yeah, because the second Inspector Lunge leaves, she drinks the rest of her drink, wipes her mouth, and then just looks forlornly at their photograph.
Yeah.
Come back with booze or a warrant or both.
Mostly the booze.
Dr. Tenma winds up back at the hospital. His patients are all happy to see him after he's come back from his... presumably, he took a sabbatical, I guess, because he's been gone at least like 6 weeks. But he took an amount of time off that is not unreasonable for a vacation.
Yeah.
Came back scruffier than ever. Something must have been a hell of a vacation.
He shaved.
He did shave, yes.
He shaved by this point. He seems to have... He is at least on the surface recovered from what happened, even though he's not, because of course you don't just recover from something like this.
Well, because he basically was told by Anna that she didn't explicitly say this, but she said, you're not at fault. And he's just like, did you go after Johan to kill him again? Like, are you going to have that sin be on your conscience? Why couldn't I have saved you from that? And like, his whole thing on the train ride is him going like, I'm still the reason he's alive. You can say it's not my fault because I didn't intend this action, but like, I feel really bad that you're having to resolve the thing. You have to do what you did again that broke you as a person because I accidentally helped someone who shouldn't have been helped. Anyway, Ava has the exact same conversation with Dr. Tenma that we saw immediately post time skip and was alluded to pre time skip.
And he has the same reaction, which again is fair.
I just love the quote. I realized it after my third failed marriage. You're the only one who ever really loved me, Kenzo. Like,
what a line.
Even though like there is a spark of sympathy, a spark of character growth here, she's still being manipulative here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
well, because she married for obviously all the wrong reasons. She wanted material wealth or status or whatever because that's what she's always known.
that's
It was
also what her
comfortable.
father brought her up in. Like, she's a product for her environment, so you can't super blame
yeah,
her for that. Like,
Exactly. So it's
She's
just
she's a very complicated character.
like the only person who is unambiguously evil in this is Johan. Like,
Well,
the director too.
Yeah, the director is pretty.
The director was corrupt.
He didn't deserve to die, but he was pretty unambiguously evil.
Yeah.
The director was basically saying he was deciding who lived and died. He
probably deserved jail, not death.
He's pretty
is
close.
What I would say.
But yeah. So when being nice doesn't immediately get her what she wants, she goes, "Hey, by the way, the detective came by and I lied for you. He has your necktie."
And he does not respond. He just keeps walking.
And like she's like, "No, you don't understand. I did a good thing for you. You're supposed to forgive me and think I'm a good person." Because that's what happens. When people do good things, they have no bad consequences, and everyone gets rewarded in the end. That's the theme of this manga.
You hurt me so terribly that I don't want to put up with it. I'm happy that you're becoming self-aware and might be getting some growth, but I'm not letting you be more of an anchor on my life.
So she then screams over the entire hospital, "I'll tell them everything. I'll tell the police it was your necktie. I'll tell them everything. I'll tell them you killed my father 9 years ago. You killed them all."
Which gets a understandable reaction of confusion from the patients.
Mm-hmm. She immediately goes to Agent Lunge. The police storm the hospital, and all of the patients block the path so that the cops can't proceed any further as Tenma escapes in an ambulance.
I love how Tenma turned in his resignation with the director of the hospital a second before the director received a phone call from the police that he's wanted for murder.
Yep.
I love the timing in this manga. It's all amazing.
It is peak like 80s action movie canon schlock action timing.
That's the thing right there. It has movie timing. Like it's paced like a 2-hour thriller.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of even the wackiest stuff, it's like, it's not, what makes it feel unreasonable is that there's so much of it, not any one individual thing. And
it's not unbelievable. It all makes sense. It's just fun.
When you recount it, it's kind of hard not to notice it is the, kind of fun bit.
But yeah, we then get a 5-month time skip to Shaggy Dr. Tenma, except this time he's packing a gun. Where'd he get that gun? We're going to spend an entire chapter explaining that.
He's packing a gun and he's hitchhiking with a trucker heading into the city. You looking for somebody in there, stranger? Yes, I don't know if I'll find him, but I have to try. Tenma says, looking at a newspaper. We're reporting another one of the serial killings with his picture in the paper because, yeah, the police have pretty good reason to think he's connected. But yeah, let's get that entire chapter of mercenary training backstory as he becomes a member of Military Sans Frontiers.
Yeah, literally, there's this anti-government guerrilla he's a freelance mercenary essentially.
He's not so anti-government. He just works for different governments. He's a work for hire mercenary.
And essentially he runs a it's like a weapon training course. And he has a pupil and he's just I don't disclose information about my students.
Let me give you exposition now.
We get the flashback of not explaining.
Of not explaining any of this to the police.
And it's great because Dr. Tenma just shows up and just like, hey, I got a shit ton of doctor money. I'm willing to give it basically all to you. He's like, most people who come here already know how to shoot a gun.
I don't.
It's okay. It's okay. The first thing I tell them to do anyway is forget everything they've ever learned and to jump rope with my adopted daughter. What? Do it.
Okay, I'm jumping rope.
When do we start waxing the fence?
We shall do no such thing. Instead, we're going to do physical training. And what's with this kid? Is she your like daughter, granddaughter? No, I shot her parents to death. Oh,
That's metal.
I shot and killed her mother right in front of her. I ran into the shack in a jungle in Myanmar, and there they were. Her mother was pointing a gun straight out at me. If I'd waited another moment, I would have been dead. So I brought the child back with me. The whole time she's been with me, she's never smiled once. She'll probably hate me till the day she dies. That's what happens when you pack a gun. If you don't like the sound of that, stay away from guns.
And here I was trying to line that up like with dates. I'm like, what the heck was happening in Myanmar during this time? I'm like, were you just like, I don't know, on an independent campaign for some reason? Why were you there?
he's a merc, so
I love that little story because that little story is kind of like, this is a man who has just fully accepted the like life philosophy that Dr. Tenma is being like forced to like adhere to. Because this guy is just like, yeah, no, I had a gun. I was in a situation where I was going to die or they were going to die. I did not react logically. I reacted on instinct because that's what I had to do. I did not mean to orphan this child. So I'm making up for it. Like, she's going to hate me, but that's what happens. You have to live with your like the consequences of your actions.
Yep.
Her daddy now.
Well, he doesn't even want that. He just didn't want to leave her orphaned with no one in the jungles. Like,
Yes.
Yep. But Tenma is such a good and cheerful fellow that he makes them some Japanese food. He carves chopsticks for everybody. He's just this point of light in their lives.
They come together as a family unit.
Yes.
Or something.
don't you dare make fun of the fact I don't know how to use chopsticks. What you looking at, boy?
Honestly, this is just the first 20 minutes of any action movie from like 1970 to 1990, like 5. It's pretty great.
And it's like all of the gun training is essentially just him beating into Dr. Tenma. You do not get to think about this. You react.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you have already pulled your gun, you are firing it. You have already made the decision. Like,
and you better shoot twice, because if you don't shoot twice, they might survive, and then things get exponentially worse for you.
I guess that's a lesson he doesn't need to learn.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
The thing of them bonding, and eventually Tenma decides he's learned enough, and he heads off to do what he feels he has to.
The mercenary feels like it's still within his contractual obligations to say to Lunge that, yes, my student that I had, who I will not give you any identifying information for, was extremely competent, very skilled. He took to everything very well. He toned his body, and he was a powerful marksman. I will say nothing more. Okay. But we get one final flashback of Tenma disappearing in the middle of the night, leaving behind an envelope full of money, for this is the cost for the rest of my training. Thank you for everything that you've done. I've given you some more traditional Japanese food as my final offer of goodwill. And as he continues to fumble with the chopsticks, the girl finally smiles and laughs, showing the lasting effect that Tenma's good heart has had on this little family.
The big part that seems to have reached the little girl is that a baby bird had fallen out of its nest, and she wanted to take it away to try to raise it. And Tenma told her, "No, we have to put it back. Baby birds almost never make it when they're hand raised." I guess there's a level of
metaphor.
Yeah, I mean, like, you know, like she has a level of understanding that the fact that she's been taken in by this person that she has reason to hate, you know, the fact that she's managed to like almost thrive in this situation.
She's flourished here.
Yeah, kind of breaks the wall down that she had put up against him.
Yeah, and like the main thing, the only thing that the instructor really answers to Inspector Luger is he asks, do you think he'll be able, like he's really good at the technicals of it. He knows how to draw, he can like fire great, he's got great accuracy. The only thing is, I don't know whether or not he's capable of shooting a human being. That's something you can only find out in the moment of doing it. Anyway, I'm going to leave and not tell you any more information, and I am going to walk hand in hand with my adopted daughter in the rain while I hold back tears.
It's so sweet.
It is very cute.
Sweet. Hopefully not more death flags.
Look, hey, if Johan wants to go after this guy, like...
That would be a choice.
He doesn't fit the MO at all.
No. But what is the MO? We don't know.
I appreciate that this manga also has a sound effect glossary in the back.
Yes.
It was 3 pages I found no value in, but
yeah,
I
I'm very confused. I'm like, are you thinking this is my first manga, first of all?
Well, it's literally
it's
just
also it's also it doesn't tell you what page this is from, so it's useless.
Well, it does. It's page and panel, but then it's just like honk, pa, honking. Like, okay.
But yeah, thus brings us to the end of our reading. So, favorite character, everybody. For me, it's Mauer. It's absolutely Mauer. Best journalist since J. Jonah Jameson. A true man of the papers. A journalist seeking the truth to all ends. Self-destructive levels of ends. He death flagged himself so hard. I love the sky. If I'm gonna go out, that's how I want to go out.
Spoken like a true Scorp.
Yes. How about you, Jacob?
Tell
us how Anna's your favorite character.
It is a tough.
Excuse me, Anna's not a blonde, and oh wait, she is.
Yeah, that honestly, that's a tough one because I really like Becker too. And quite frankly, Eva is a really, really interesting character. But yeah, I guess if I have to pick one, with how me coded Anna is, I'll go with her. But it's honestly a really tight race between a couple of characters.
Jay, how about you?
I honestly have to say, if I had to pick, I would have to say Tenma, only because he is like the tragic hero in all of this, trying to do a good job, trying to do the right thing, and it going catastrophically bad. He's having to undertake a skill set that he in no universe was ever anticipating having to take, being a detective, potentially having to basically assume being a mercenary at this point. Just wanted to be a doctor and, you know, work on cutting edge, you know, research, and that was it. And yeah, this is going to be quite an interesting career shift for him.
Mm-hmm.
Really filling out that resume.
Yeah.
And Matt.
Yeah, I gotta go with Dr. Tenma. It's real hard for me to pick anyone else in this, because this is like, the reason this is a horror manga is like the psychological horror that is happening to Dr. Tenma right now.
Mm-hmm.
Of like, he is trapped in a situation from what should have been like karmically rewarded by doing the right thing, but he's just being punished. Like, there's a level of powerlessness that, like, when he does the right thing, he is punished for it. And the whole transition, he has to go from like a man who wanted to save lives because he wanted to do the right thing, having to now like run away from all of that, give up on all of that, and actually learn how to take a life so that he can fix the mistake. He can fix the mistake he made, even though he had no way of actually knowing about. But like the whole like dichotomy of fault and like responsibility is just really fun. And it's like, watching him go on this journey is really the manga.
So, plot predictions, thoughts on the plot. I'm just waiting for the like cowboy standoff between Anna, Johan, and and Tenma, and then Lunge will show up to be a chaotic fourth element that will result in probably Anna dying because nothing good can happen to Tenma.
I hope not.
I hope not either, but listen, I feel like this is the sort of story. I get a lot of Harry Dresden vibes from this story where he has to get beaten down to his absolute lowest point before anything like positive, not even like emotionally, but just plot wise happens for him. Also, the fact that he is the most suspicious looking man in all of existence, but if you look at it from his perspective, it's really just incredibly unfortunate circumstance. But yeah, that's my take. I'm just looking forward to the big standoff, the moment in the samurai or cowboy film. As for an actual like revelation about Johan's motivations, it's almost to the point where like anything short of just like, yeah, I'm a fucked up sociopath would be kind of trite.
I mean, that's kind of what I like about this, is just the like Johan being like literally the devil. Like, he is just evil. He is the thing that makes the otherwise very like palatable and normal worldview of like everyone is worthy of saving. Except for this one. And you looked up and you had no way of knowing that you accidentally saved a horrible monster beyond human morals and like takes pleasure in people's pain. Like it's very like Frankenstein's monster kind of. Like you made a human being that's so perfect but like lacks any moral compunctions and is just like, yeah, no, I killed people because they annoyed me.
Oh, yeah, like that's why I put in that's why I put in the outline there, hi, Victor, for Tenma going on the warpath to kill the monster he created.
Yep.
Oh, God, if only Victor Frankenstein had a fraction of the moral compunctions that Tenma did.
I mean, not for nothing. It really is the case where, say what you will about Dr. Tenma, like some of Dr. Tenma's good boyedness being performative, like he does have a moral compass. He does have a good moral center. And quite frankly, his like idea that set him on this path, it's bad luck that's punishing him, not that he's wrong and being like, you know, divinely punished by the fates for a mistake he made. And it, you know, it's one of those ones where
he feels like he's being divinely punished in a Greek context.
Yeah. And I do really feel like what's ultimately like, and I mean, you know, a lot of this, I think this series is completed, right?
Yes, this is a very old series.
Yeah,
it's, 1995 to 2001, I think.
Yeah, so you know, the series is out. It's fairly long. It's like 170 some odd chapters. But like I really do feel like the sort of like end point has already kind of been locked in, and that, you know, it's like if I was presented with the same situation, I'd do it again. You know, because it doesn't matter that this happened to create a situation where a horrifying monster was unleashed on the world. You still got to save everyone. Everyone's lives are still equal. You're, Johan, you're at fault for all of this because you know, you see everyone else's life as equally below yours. You're the one at fault. I did nothing wrong. And like, that's the, you know, place he's ultimately going to come to. Just it's obviously going to be a really long journey to get there.
Yeah. Yep. The guilt of Tenma is definitely a strong motivating factor because like as you go through this, more and more people are dead. And like that becomes harder and harder. Like we saw it happen here.
Yeah, so many people are dead.
Do we know can we suppose what Johan's plans with Anna are? Does he remember that she tried to kill him?
I think he genuinely doesn't care, considering he told her to like how to get away with murder.
He told her to do
like,
it.
Yeah, she's like the one. She and Tenma are like the two people in the world that like he's like, I would not kill them because I care about them, and if they take me down, I'm fine with it. But otherwise, I'm just going to do what I want.
What do you think I don't know. I was kind of just hooked on the fact that he was waiting until their 20th birthday to come for her. And I'm like, is this going to be some weird, like, fantasy that he's built up in his head of, like, either joining forces, having a standoff, or I don't know, something weird and creepy and incesty.
Oh, almost certainly it's some like built up fantasy in his mind, because
let's not make this as confidential, please.
Important to remember, when they were kids in the hospital and, they were forced together against Dr. Tenma's wishes, he had his hand outstretched to her and was crying. Like, sister, please accept me. Or, like, come back to, whatever dynamic I've established.
Mm-hmm.
He clearly cares about her and wants her to be like protected by what he does. So
he is willing, like, she and Tenma are the two people he is willing to, I don't care if you go against me, I want you to be happy and successful.
But that's not true, because she is happy. He's able to observe her, see that she's happy and successful. He could just keep a distance and continue to watch her, not upend her life and have her kill her parents.
But that's not him being in control.
Yeah, no, so the whole thing that I was going to say is he's fine with them going against him, but he's still going to do whatever he wants. His machinations come first. It's just, if they choose to oppose him, he's like, okay, but you better take me down. Like that's the situation with,
better kill me in one shot.
Yeah, you better get me with the first shot. I'll even show you how. But if you don't get me with the first shot, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing.
Because, like, that's the whole thing with the two police officers, where they were expected to bring back both of them. Dr. Tenma didn't seem to be, like, picking up on that was the case, because he's just like, wait, hold on, how do you know who I am? But, like, they were grabbing both of them. They knew to grab both of them because they were bringing them to Johan. Like, But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I think it is Johan appeared really only like twice in our reading. So his machinations for what he wanted with Anna are a little vague.
We don't know how crazy he is, because if he's just a little sociopath who likes inflicting pain, then I have no idea. Or he might be delusional and like think he is the righteous punishment of God or some such nonsense. We haven't interacted with him enough to know what his motivations are. Mm-hmm. It seems like he's just enjoying hurting people, but it could be anything.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he's only stealing enough to live from all of the families. Like, that's the thing. It's like, yeah, we stole enough money. No, I'm sorry. He stole enough money to do Bruce Wayne level nonsense with henchmen. But
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Johan has bought enough like goodwill with me at this point that I would be completely accepting of him saying, yes, the blind Nazi. I told him exactly my plan so that you would find me, Doctor.
Waiting for it.
I'm willing to believe that one.
Well, I mean, he's completely self-taught and obviously has high intelligence. From an early age. So 100% he's found a way to make money, whether that's through legitimate shell companies or 100%, underground. I don't know. Definitely a force to be reckoned with.
He's got a lot of money from all those rich families he lived with, and then he learned English and French from the Nazi.
Yeah, so. He's basically unstoppable. So
terrifyingly powerful.
Yeah.
And with that, would you continue reading? I absolutely would. This was a delight of a mystery to read through. Very densely paced story. It just you start reading it and you keep going, and it's one ridiculous character and dramatic plot reveal to the next. I love it.
It's very fast paced. It's dense yet breezy. It has the vibe of a spy thriller, so it's it dares you to turn the page.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, this is an appropriate spooky month thing for us to close on, because it's a horror spy thriller.
Oh yeah,
it's really interesting. So yeah, I definitely continue reading.
How about you, Jay?
Oh, I'm obviously curious, but just seeing how much. I don't know. I kind of feel like we're already on the precipice of the climax, and I'm just like, but there's so many so many volumes left. I'm just like, what else could happen? What other levels of depravity could happen for this poor doctor?
I mean, we've kind of just left the prologue because now he's got nothing. He is a wanted man who is trying to solve his, the murderer. He's trying to kill the murderer that he is currently being blamed for the crimes of.
Because he's going to try to do the right thing and take the law into his own hands, and it's going to backfire catastrophically.
It's going to be awesome. How about you, Matt?
I said earlier that I'd watched the anime for this, and I remember I stopped watching the anime because I felt like the episodes were paced a little slow. It was a very slow, methodic series, which, looking back on it, I think maybe I was just impatient. But reading this, I really enjoyed the art, and the story was well paced. Just it kept going from action to action. Nothing seemed crazy in such a way that it shook belief. It was all very logical things that make sense. They're just insane, and it's fun to read. And I had never read Monster before, and I am a really big fan of Urasawa's other work, Billy Bat, which I think is on the list of things we could do for, but I don't think you guys are ready to find out who really did the Kennedy assassination.
Oh God.
But yeah, Billy Bat's fun. It's the manga of this mangaka that is probably never coming into English because it's about a character who is not Mickey Mouse, but is just Mickey Mouse, and how a cult formed around him.
Fun.
Huh.
Yeah.
So Mickey Mouse.
Yes, it's very fun. It's if Mickey Mouse killed JFK, really.
Honestly, I believe it.
Spectacular.
Yeah, so I would continue reading. I might just continue reading now.
Just for funsies.
Yeah.
Go for it, man. And you'll have
found a series that you like.
It has to happen eventually. I was saying before the call, man, we read a lot of garbage. It's sometimes just nice to be reminded what a good manga is.
Yep, it sure is.
Unfortunately, next week we're reading more Kagurabachi.
No, we're not. Next week's November.
Oh, okay. Well, as always, we appreciate reviews in any and all forms. We had a great Halloween with y'all. If you've got some spooky manga that we didn't read, gonna be
Send
honest.
me a list.
Yeah, send us a list. I'm gonna be honest. We did get some Halloween recommendations in by the time we're recording this episode. Unfortunately, we're recording this episode a lot earlier in the season than you'd think we were because we got a little ahead of the game. So, sorry. You can reach out over mangacast@gmail.com or, wherever you can give us recommendations. We love it.
Indeed. And make sure to follow us on all your social medias where we are at Over MangaCast. Facebook, Instagram, X, all of them.
All two of them.
All two of them.
You can also find us on YouTube where you can like, comment, and subscribe. We also have overmangacast.com. The YouTube is on a 2-week delay, so if you want our up-to-date stuff, you can head over there. And that also has a comment box where you can give us even more recommendations. Give us recommendations on all of those platforms.
Give us so many recommendations. The entire month of February is now just going to be romance manga. And the entire month of March is just going to be basketball manga. And we're going to have theme months for every month of the year. Because it's always a good idea to have theme months, especially two right after the other. And we just finished Halloween. So Sam, what are we doing next week?
We are not reading anything because it's No Read November. We're gonna watch Golden Kamuy.
I'm sure that won't go badly.
Wait, hold on. We're going to watch the anime for Golden Kamuy?
No, the live action movie.
Oh, the Netflix live action movie?
Yeah.
Matt loves those.
Oh, man. Full Metal Alchemist was so good all 3 times.
I'm sure it's fine.
Listen, man, I'm holding out hope that it can't happen again.
It can't keep being bad. They can't
keep getting away with this.
They can't keep shoving in CGI wolves.
Please, no.
Yes.
So watch that, and we'll see you all for our favorite month of the year next week. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
The Over Manga Cast does not recommend watching live-action anime movies.
That's a lie.
Please only watch live-action anime movies if your doctor absolutely requires it. You have been warned.
If your erection lasts longer than 4 hours.